Hey guys, it's the WalterFootball.com After Dark Show for June 9, 2024. We're going to be discussing a lot tonight. Covered calls, talked about how I was going to get into that, which is, it's a risk-free way to make a good, decent amount of money on the stock market. GameStop, Scottie Scheffler hedges, NBA Finals, NHL Finals, Game of Thrones rewatch, and all the other random stuff that we usually talk about with Tom here. I'm going to introduce Tom in a second, but before we do, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that would be appreciated. If you can see on the screen right now, we have a bunch of stuff here, and I was really hoping for my next shirt to come out. I made it last night. Apparently, I don't know if it's going to get flagged or not. It's a little offensive. But it's I guess I don't know. It's not nearly as offensive as this stuff, but you guys will see. I don't know if I want to spoil it, but you guys will see it by Tuesday, or my account will be banned. Either one. So we're tuning on a Shab to Pressure, which you guys will probably know what that is. We have Pedo Pete just in time for the election with Rogers Bucker, Make Football Great Again. November Sloth Month. I added the logo here if you guys want that too. My wife suggested that. We have Money Laundering. The color is very appropriate. Bucker was right, apron, and then there are 4 lights. I talked about this on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember when, but like these prices are pretty good. Like the $18 for a high quality shirt, I think is it's pretty good. Like even if you don't want to support the site and just want a shirt, like I feel like in this day and age, like $18 is a pretty sweet deal. You get 15% off on the site. So if you want to do that, you could do that. But you could also support us via super chat, super stickers. We had some great ones last week. Kevin Kovac donated like $25 worth of super stickers. It was awesome. We had Slew with $5.55 on Thursday. We had a new reader or a new listener on Tuesday. He gave us a $20 super chat. John Sanders, usually very supportive. Degeneron, Germ, you guys have been so awesome. So if you guys want to help us out and keep the show going, it's a great way to do it because YouTube ads pay next to nothing. So we really appreciate that. Also, you can go on Amazon and buy my Jerks to the College Years book. Tom and I were actually just talking about one of the jerks before we started recording. This guy, Fat Upper Message Man, he almost made the cut for the cover. They were like the person who drew this cover, which I think was phenomenal. They gave me like 6 or 8 different options, and they were all great. And like Fat Opera Message Man was on one of them or 2 of them, and he did look pretty funny and like pretty close to what our friend looked like. But I chose this one, but yeah, he could have easily made the cut. Without further ado, we have Tom Quacky T. Tom, how are you?
Oh, Walter, here we are again. I'm so excited for the show tonight. I've got so much to go over. I don't know how we're going to get it all in 2 hours, but hey, I want to say first, you said that either the shirt will be up or you get shut down. Let's form a contingency plan. If you get shut down, just look to my Twitter account, and then that'll be the contingency plan. I'll relay messages from you until you're back up and running. So okay. For those of you watching at home with that concern, but oh man, I've been having a great day. I got the hot hand right now, Walt. I was talking about it with you before. I hit a nice prop bet in MLB. It was 14-1 for $20, a home run prop. And I'll get into the NHL. I know I was talking to Slew earlier, and you and Jacob. We took the Panthers tonight. I had a -1.5. What a performance by them. I'm really excited. I have a strong feeling on that series. Made a little money on GME on Thursday, so we'll get into that. And I'm glad to be here. We have a lot to go over. So and we're going to talk WNBA. Don't think you're gonna get out of it. I was 2 for 2 in WNBA today. So
hey, look, I'm all for making money, and I definitely recommend following your WNBA betting advice. But I will never watch it. You can't get me to watch it. You couldn't pay me to watch it.
No. Okay, let's just do this now. Okay. Come on, just watch one, man.
I'd have to be paid a lot to watch it.
No, come on. Okay, would you watch? I'll come up and visit. We'll watch some games. I won't tell anybody you watched.
If you come up just to watch WNBA with me, I'll watch a half, and then we could bail in the third quarter once I see 20 missed layups.
Here's the thing. I used to be like you. I used to feel that way too. But here's the thing. Like, it's entertaining, man. Mm-hmm. It's please, just maybe like I'll send you a link to live stream a game this week or something, and like we can like text back and forth during it. I promise you won't be. And so to me, it's so easy to predict. I'm kind of taking a stab in the dark here, but with props included, I think I'm like 22 and 7 or so, or 22 and 8 with the WNBA picks, and that includes the live betting. Because let me tell you something. For those of you listening and interested in betting the WNBA, I watch a lot of the games. Sometimes the teams really come out shooting hot, but it's so rare for that. Like, it's so rare for that to hold up. So like live bet the other team, like with plus the points, because it's so unlikely. Like, I can't remember which game it was, but I think it was the Storm. They shot 50% in the first half. It's like, no way that keeps up. Go the other way. It came through. It's like, I mean, obviously nothing's a foolproof system or anything, but check it out. If you're not following it at least a little bit, and there's only 12 teams, so it doesn't take a lot of effort. It's relatively easy to predict. Now watch me say that, and I'll go for my next 20. But Patrick Pillow, how's it going? Watch this Gitmo.
Yeah. Would you rather be waterboarded or watch WNBA? I don't
know. Man, one day we'll look back on this show, Walter, and you'll be like, wow, Tom, I can't believe I didn't listen to you sooner.
No, my son is 2, almost 2.5. He's going to be in athletics soon. He's going to do his soccer games, I'm sure. And so I have lots of bad athletics to watch on the horizon. I don't need more here. Like it's like the same thing, really. I can't get into it. You know, the fact that you can make money on it, intrigues me. But I'll just leave that to you, and you can text me your plays and. I'll just bet them, but I really don't want to watch this at all.
Okay, here's the let's do this. Okay, so both of us are August birthdays to the viewers. Okay, for my birthday this year, will you just watch a WNBA game and then you pick something from? I'll get you something.
I don't even
know.
Do
that for me for my birthday, Walt?
Fine, but.
All right,
for your birthday, fine. But like, I don't even know like how to reciprocate that. Like, what horrible thing should I make you watch? I don't know.
Oh, make me watch season 7 and 8.
Well, you got to watch the first 6 seasons soon.
Yeah,
like you have to watch those first. I don't know how many episodes you watched tonight. Just 1 or 2?
Just 1. I watched season 3, episode 4. I sent you the recap. Yeah. You know what? I wonder if people would be interested in my like slightly humorous recaps. Like, just post it as a link on the site. Probably not.
You should tweet it out.
I don't know. I think people might call it. It's too many words for
I mean.
Tweet.
It could be a whole thread.
Oh, that's true.
It's very funny.
I think people might think that I lost my mind. They probably think that already. But no, okay. I will watch season 8 after because I'll be through that by the time our birthdays roll around. I will watch season.
We have 2 months left. I don't know.
I'll put the pedal to the metal here. I'll go triple. I'll go 3 episods a week or something like that.
But
if it means you'll watch the game.
I don't want to make you watch seasons 7 and 8. Now, like I don't know. I like you too much as a friend. I don't want you to suffer.
No, hold on. When you word it like that, you put some onus on me. Like I'm doing this. You don't understand. Like you don't know what you're missing. And because I care about you as a friend, I want you. It's like it's something we can enjoy together. You know. And we can make money, and then you can probably see like another angle that I don't see in the game. But I'm telling you, especially that live betting, I think that's come through like every time I've tried it. Okay. Sometimes these teams go up like similar to the NBA where they can catch up, but if they're shooting like a high percentage, it's probably not going to last. So, but anyhow, I digress about that. We'll table that for now. But
yeah, it sounds like regression to the mean. It seems pretty reasonable. I'm sure you could probably do that in most sports, but Patrick says, I would say I appreciate Ghosts and Goblins' recommendation, but the difficulty of the game and those red demons make me want to say otherwise.
Oh my god!
It's for not for the faint of heart. It's you have to. It's suffrage, but at the same time, once you finally beat a level, you will feel really good about yourself. You're like, man, I accomplished something. It's a tough one. So
it's so accurate. It's so accurate from someone who's been in that same spot. It's such an accomplishment, and like you almost like can't believe you did it.
Yes.
The red demons are the worst. They're the hard. There's no. Did you ever? I know we talked about this before, but was there any pattern to the red demons and the?
No.
Yeah,
It's all random.
It's horrible.
You'll lose sleep over those red demons. But like I said, when you beat a level, especially like one of the when you get into like a level 3, especially level 3 too, there's like 5 red demons. Once you beat that level, you'll feel great. I remember I told the story on air before, but I had so much trouble beating level 3 too. And I finally did it. My friend Ryan was over, who's the editor of the website. He was watching me play. And we had some drinks, but I wasn't drunk or anything. But I started level 4, or it's like 4-2 for the first time. And I ran through it the first time I've ever seen it without dying. I just like ripped through it. I couldn't believe it. I felt like I was like on a different level. Like someone was controlling me and I was just playing the game. And Ryan I remember him saying like, how are you doing this? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know these jumps. I don't know anything. And I just like ran through the whole level. I couldn't believe it. And of course, to get to the final boss, and like I don't have the right weapon, so I can't beat him. So I have to.
Oh my God,
stupid.
That would happen on a run where you did that well. Jeez, yep, it's absolutely impossible and beyond maddening.
Yep.
So
yeah, I just didn't know about it. I didn't know that you need a specific weapon to beat the boss. It's like, come on. That game is ridiculous. Sue says, nice haircut, fellas. Thank you. So I didn't know the first week of June was haircut time. Well, it's been a while for me. I think the last haircut I had was March. I usually get one like every 6 weeks or something like that, but my hairdresser wasn't available for a while, so just let it. It wasn't intentional to grow it out. Just not possible.
Yeah.
Plus, with 2 kids, it's kind of hard to find time to get away. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Slew, and thank you for joining. I got a haircut on Monday. I was actually, if you saw my Twitter, as you may have, I was a hair model I worked. So I do installations from time to time. I install point of sale systems for conventions so that the vendors can sell their items at the booth during the show. And it's a salon and beauty convention, and they have like people, like cutting hair, and the barber is wearing a microphone, and people are like gathered around. And I was just, I was working, but I just act as support during the show, so I'm not like constantly doing something. But this guy came up to me. He goes, "You want to be like a hair model for a demonstration?" Gentleman Republic was the name of the brand. So guy was up there with the mic. I had like 10 people gather around, and I got a free haircut out of it. I thought it turned out well. So
nice.
It was. And nowadays, geez, like you go, like I think you're doing the right thing if you do it yourself now. Sometimes I go to sports clips. And if you get like the full VIP treatment, it's like $40 or $45, man, after tip. I mean, I'm a generous tipper too, because I used to work for tips, but I was happy to get this cut for free. And it was pretty good, like those demos, the people are going to be at least decent. So it's expensive.
Well, I mean, everything's gotten expensive. I ordered food tonight. It was a large pizza, half pepperoni, chicken fingers with French fries, and a cheesesteak. How much do you think that was? I mean, I already prefaced that it's more than I thought it would be.
You said, wait, was this from that diner that we went to?
No, it was from this pizza place around the corner from us.
Okay, so you said it was a large half pepperoni, chicken fingers and French fries, and what was the last thing?
A cheesesteak, plain cheesesteak. How much?
$62.45.
Well, I told you it was a lot, so you're gonna. It was $49. It's $49. Like I feel like it was like $30 like a few years ago. Just like everything just got so expensive. It's insane. But that's what happens when don't get me started in the Federal Reserve again. That's what happens when you keep printing money and keep diluting your product. Bachelor's also August birthday, the 23rd, and I cannot recommend a WNBA game and watch party for any fellow August birthday people. I'm right there with you, Patrick. I'm the 6th. So yeah, it's August is a cool month, I think, to have a birthday because you get pool parties and stuff. So I like that. But yeah, I'm with you for sure.
Hello, Evie. How's it going? Thanks for joining, Evie.
Hello, and you need to find Dominican barbers. Actually, my mom used to be a hairdresser, so she does my hair. So I've never paid for a haircut in my life. So just lucky that way. She used to be a hairdresser when she came over from the USSR back in the late 70s. So Sue says live streaming Quacky and Walt watching a WM game would be like the MNF Manning cast on a new level.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Except
like, there might be like broadcasting violations. I'm sure. But I guess we could do it live and not show it, but I don't know how entertaining that would be. Maybe that's what we could do.
Actually, I think that would. I mean, we would be like. I mean, who else does that? Right? I mean, we might be. I mean, I don't know if I could say pioneers, but anyhow, I had a one time. Let me just go back and address what Evie said. A Dominican barber. I went to like a Puerto Rican barber shop one time, and they shaved off my widow's peak.
Really?
Yeah, like it was like flat across. So like I don't know. I'm nervous to go to like any bar. Like once I find one person, like I just stick to them. Yeah, they shaved my widow's peak off. So
Wow.
I don't know. You know what that is, right? It's like
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people I've had to explain that to people before. So, but anyhow, that's a good idea, Slew. I like that idea. We'll talk in the green room afterwards.
Oh yeah, it is. If we do watch it, I think that would be a good way to go about it. Sue says Quacky's cut was sporting the Sean McVay look. IMO. Yeah, you do. It looks familiar. Yeah.
I'll take it. Take it. Not bad. Thank you.
Yeah. And Evie says Leos are amazing. Yes.
Wait, is that what you're a Leo?
Yes, I am.
I really don't know any of the signs except for my own. I'm with Patrick Pillow. I'm a Virgo.
Okay.
Patrick Pillow. I think he said 23rd. So you're okay. No, I did know that. I did know that Leo was right before that, but I don't know like any of the other signs. I mean, I couldn't name them all, but I could name probably most of them.
Yeah, I mean, I could, and obviously you have Gemini, Scorpio, Cancer, etc. But like Capricorn. But you know what helped was Battlestar Galactica, because like their 12 planets were named after the 12 signs. Okay. So like Capricorn, their main planet was Caprica. And so stuff like that. So it was a union of 12 planets basically, and like they would always say the names and stuff. So that's how I would remember. But I never, other than that, I just never really knew. And like when sometimes people ask me like, "What's your sign?" I'll be like, a dinosaur, and they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, dinosaur, and they're like, that's not a sign. I'm like, yeah, it is. And they get confused. So I just never, I don't know, I never really took that seriously.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do think I do find it interesting on some level. And I think maybe there's something to it, but I don't like. You ever meet somebody, or like I don't know, like maybe you're like on a dating app or something, and someone's like, oh, like you're a Virgo. Oh, geez, Virgos are bad news for me. And then like that, I don't know. Like I think that's weird. It's like you haven't even like talked to me. I mean, I can only think of like one time that's ever happened to me. But it wasn't like she left or anything. But she's like, oh, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna like I'm just pulling this out of nowhere. Like Scorpios and Virgos aren't good matches or whatever. But it's just like we haven't even we just met. Yeah. How are you gonna do that? So like that's where I draw the line with that stuff. What were you gonna say?
There's got to be a astrologophobe, maybe calling that. I don't know. Like it has to be a term for it, there's got to be a term for it. So just accuse them of being that.
That's true. That's true. And I think we've probably seen memes like this when people are like, oh, like I'm a Scorpio. I just, I'm very blunt, or I say what it's like, no, you're just a dick. Like that doesn't have anything to do. Like, oh, like you think you can't control that? Like,
I think the signs have changed anyway.
Yeah, I'm when I say Scorpio, I'm just pulling a random one out of mint. For those of you watching that know that maybe that's not true about Scorpios.
Oh no, I'm saying, but like in the sky, the signs have changed over the years, so like it doesn't even apply. Oh yeah, it doesn't even apply anymore. Like I guess people don't know that. I don't know. It's kind of, I never really took it seriously. But
yeah, for somebody that says they don't really take it seriously, you sure know a lot about constellations.
I told you it was Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair.
one of the best shows of all time. Maybe you'll have to watch that instead. It's a 2-hour premiere. Battlestar Galactica. It's so great. I think I told you about it. It's because like basically robots take over the civilization, which is in space. They do it by hacking all the starships, and the starships all implode. Except for this one starship that's so old, like they're about to retire it. And the commander, just like Commander Adama, his name is, like he's so old and stodgy that like he just refuses to change. And so he just wants to pilot this old crappy ship. And like the robots can't hack it because it's not on the network. And so they're the only ones that survive. And like they have to like they have to basically find Earth. They learn that like humans came from Earth, and so they want to go back to Earth and like see if there are other humans there, because all the humans they know have been wiped out. So it's basically like 4 seasons, and then there's like a prequel show called Caprica. It's one of the best shows of all time, and there's some crazy twists along the way too. One of the characters sees like an angel who's not there, and like it gets like really deep, and it gets a little crazy too. I absolutely loved it. I miss watching it.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but I'm aware of its prowess, and it's its piece in media. The place it holds in media. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we just make some new constellations? Like, if you can just like, look over there, like we can just draw it that way. Like some of those, it's like these are kind of a stretch. It's like the bears and like the Taurus or whatever. It's like, I guess, like these stars are kind of far away. I feel like they're grabbing at straws here, astrologers. But why don't we just make some new ones?
Well, I'm ahead of the curve. I said dinosaur already, so we need 11 more.
Yeah. I mean, or we could take it past that. Like, remember, Pokemon only had 151 originally, and now there's a lot more than that.
No, I don't want more than 12. It seems ridiculous. I think we can keep track of it, and it'd be so annoying to make a lot.
Do you think if we found some better constellations, they'd like maybe kick some of the other ones out?
Probably. You're right. Like, I could never discern. Like, they're like, oh, this makes a whatever it is, a lion. I'm like, how? I don't see it. I don't know.
There's a few that make sense, like Orion's Belt and like Big Dipper, Little Dipper. I see that.
Right.
But like some of the more complex ones, and this is like, and my experience looking at them has been like in a book for 7.5 seconds. So take this for what it's worth. But why couldn't we just find? There's got to be some other ones up there. Like, I feel like some of them are a stretch anyway. We could just be like, that looks like, I don't know, a mountain or something.
Right.
It could be anything.
It could be like, it could be Game of Thrones characters like the mountain or Arya Stark.
Oh yeah, there you go. I mean, do you think there's any way we could get money for that, for doing that? Maybe the astrology crowd would. I don't know. How do we?
I think the astrology crowd doesn't really want to innovate. I feel like they're just like they believe what they want to believe, and they're not gonna change their minds. So I don't think we're gonna make it with them. Now maybe new people will come in, but I doubt it. I feel like the people who aren't in it will never be in it, and like the people who are in it, they refuse to believe that the signs have changed over the years. So Sue says Will Chamberlain was the Big Dipper. Yes, he was. So yeah, I don't know. I don't see any money coming from this, but I guess you never know. Like, there have been weirder things, so I'm not gonna count it out. So,
hey, speaking of Wilt Chamberlain, what's the without saying, I mean, we all know what he's talking about, but like the number of like his number, Wilt Chamberlain's number, like if you broke it down, there's no like possible way he could have been with that many women. Right.
What was the number? Do you know? I'm actually looking it up.
I want to say it was something like, I'm just pulling this out of nowhere, but I want to say it was like 5. It's something crazy, like 5,000.
He said 20,000.
20,000? How? There's only. I mean, I'm not trying to turn this into a spicy hour or anything, but how old was Wilt Chamberlain? Okay, so like when do you think he said that? Like he was like 30? Let's say he was 30.
Well, I think he said that late in life, didn't he?
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay, so how long did? Well, I just want to take 2 minutes and it's a matter of great concern. You see, how old was Wilt Chamberlain? You see, 19. So he was 63. Okay. So 63 times 365. So he lived 22,995 days, give or take. I mean, how is that happening? I think you're muted, Walt.
Yeah, he said like he didn't have sex when he was like 5. You can't like
right
start from there. Let's say he was in high school when he started. Like so from 1950 to 1999, that's 49 years times 365. That's 17,885 days divided by 20,000, which means 0.89. Sorry, I just did that the other way. It's actually 20,000 divided by 17.
Yeah, I just did the same thing you did.
It's like 1.12 women per day. But like if he had like orgies with like 20 women, like that would have counted, you know? So I imagine he just did that. Like he just had a lot of women like in bed at the same time.
I'm sure like when he was on the road too, I'm sure he had like women lined up.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, he was the biggest star of the league. I mean, that sort of thing happens today, you know? Do you ever see that? You don't like documentaries, so you haven't seen it. It's a 30 for 30 called Broke. And it's about, you know, how a lot of athletes go broke. And I always thought this was an interesting like thing. Like when some people are like, how could they go broke? It's like, come on, like, let's like think about this a little bit. Some of these people like grow up, like they don't have any sort of structure. They don't have any, you know, like some of them don't have a bank account. They never had a bank account before. And now they're like millionaire. Like they don't have any, like, they don't know how it works. Like, of course they're going to like blow, you know, and a lot of people really try to screw them over too. Like it's unbelievable. How did I get on this topic now? What were we saying right before that?
I mean, we were talking about Will Chamberlain.
Women
on the road.
Right. But then they talked about in the documentary too, how like there was like this one woman, she ran a website. It was like, oh, you know, like the Chicago Bulls are going to be in town this day. Like,
right.
You know, and so we're going to go to this club and maybe we can see, you know, whoever there. And I saw this thing. It might've been on it wasn't Hard Knocks. It was NFL something where I think it was with the Ravens, and they did like a rookie symposium sort of thing with the new players. And they were like warning them about like, and part of the, like, you know, like when you go out, like you represent the team, you're in the public eye sort of thing, and everything's going to be news if you do anything wrong. And then they mentioned, hey, like when you go out, there's going to be a lot of women that are trying to have you know what I mean? I don't need to go any further. And I thought that was interesting that they cover that, but like, of course, I think that's smart for them to cover something like that. Real talk, you know, like that sort of thing happens all the time. So, you know, I thought that was smart of them to do that.
Yeah. I mean, but you said like they had like basically brothels, you know, different cities. I was just thinking about Littlefinger, you know, the NBA or the NBA comes into like King's Landing, you know, Littlefinger's got like the women lined up and stuff.
So yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it works. So I mean, if he betted like 20 women a night sometimes, and you know, it would add up.
Yeah.
Sandra says, I bought Gatorade for the first time in 5 years last week. Yeah, it's been a while for me too. I used to mix it with vodka, and it's pretty good because like you can't taste the vodka at all. Needed dextrose, used to be 2 for $4, 2 for $6 at $3.29 each, and are 28 ounces now. Used to be 32 ounces now. Since about 2019. Yeah, it's shrinkflation plus inflation. Yeah, it's 50% more. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, a lot of stuff has gone up in price. And I love how like the Federal Reserve, they'll have their meetings and be like, oh, we're so surprised inflation's still up. It's like, well, you print $500 million per day. Like maybe that's a problem. Like not the interest rates. Like maybe you should tone it down or just stop printing money altogether. Just a thought. I don't know. I'm not as smart as you guys, but I'm just a recommendation here. If you guys are listening. Patrick says, I went to King's Dominion today, and one pizza slice with 2 breadsticks was $16. Wow. And that was with a season pass discount. Wow, that is a lot of money, man. It's crazy. I want, like, how much did that cost earlier, Patrick? I'm kind of curious. So like what, $8 or $10 before? Now it's like 16. It's crazy. So asking, what about biorhythms? Better than astrology? Yeah, biorhythms are actually a thing. And actually, I used to. This guy doesn't email me anymore, but this guy used to email me, and he told me. I don't know if it's true or not, but it sounded so out there that it almost had to be true. He said he used to be. He was a doctor, and he used to be on Billy Walters' payroll. Billy Walters, one of the most known sports bettors in the world. He's actually banned in a lot of casinos, but he has so many people working for him that like he'll come in and make some bets. They'll make some bets for him. And so, he's so known that 60 Minutes did a whole piece on him. But he would have Billy Walters would have so many people working for him. He'd have a medical guy. He'd have like a stat guy. He would have all sorts of people, like a weather guy, and he would have like an actual meteorologist, like it would work for him, just to get him like the best information, like an injury guy, stuff like that. But he had a biorhythms guy, and this guy emailed me claiming to be Billy Walters' biorhythms guy, and so he would send me charts of all these players and their biorhythms. And he'd be like, so-and-so is going to have a bad week because he's in a negative biorhythm right now. And like most of the time he would be right. It was pretty amazing. It sounded so weird. I haven't heard from him in so long. It's been like a decade, but he sounded like an older guy. So I don't know. I don't know if he's still with us, but he was, it was pretty interesting. Cause like he would have like all this data and like he would just send me like PDFs that were like hundreds of pages long, like all these players. And so, yeah, I mean, he worked for Billy Walters apparently. Wow. So yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Hey, real quick. I just got a notification. I don't know if you remember earlier this week, I tweeted out about, they said that the Packers couldn't and the Eagles couldn't wear green. Mm-hmm. I just got this notification. Readers added a community note to a post which you replied, like to repost it. The information is false. Teams could be requested not to wear green because the game will be played in Corinthians Arena. Corinthians' biggest rival is Palmeiras that wears green. Additionally, the allegation that teams will be forced to stay inside and use armored vehicles is also false. Mm-hmm. That's the first time I've ever got. So what do I do? Do I have egg on my face? Do I look stupid now? Should I delete it and try to save face or just say screw it? I'm joking. It's not a big deal.
It's like a badge of honor almost.
Yeah. Also like I'm just trolling too. Like I don't care. Like I know that the teams are going to be fine. They're going to figure something out. So right. Because what did I write? I was like, yeah, like great idea. Schedule two, like know this, and like schedule 2 teams that wear green and one that literally has the word green in the name. Mm-hmm. You know, like I'm just messing around anyway. But I just got honked, bro.
That's funny.
Anyhow, we can move on. We get some comments here.
Yeah. Mike says, if you ask me, it's okay. Look, it is.
Thank you, Mike. I'll take it.
Mike says it depends. Did they have Viagra back then? Talking about Wilt. And Sue asking, Quacky, have you never heard of 2-a-days? By the way, I don't think Wilt still took math at Kansas. Yeah, the number could be a little off, to be fair, but I'm sure he betted a lot of women. He was just assuming, it might have been like 5,000 or something, and he said 20,000. It's 5,000 still a lot, but if he's having like these orgies with like 20, 30 women, then like it does add up. Mike says, customer to pharmacist, my doctor prescribed Viagra. Can I get it over the counter? Pharmacist to customer, if you take 2 of them, you can.
That's good. Thanks for that, Mike.
Bryce saying, what's up, fellas? Just finished my rewatch of Game of Thrones. I forgot how top tier of a character Littlefinger is. Littlefinger was the best, and then they'd ruin him as well as everyone else in season 7. Season 7 Littlefinger was a moron. It's kind of like, a bunch of other characters who are smart became morons, and the dumbest characters became geniuses. It just didn't make sense at all. So yeah, again, I mean, I am not going to tell you to watch beyond season 6. It becomes so horrible. Actually says food was definitely closer to 8 to 10. Season passes have remained pretty consistent though, which is nice.
Oh, that's
good. Someone, I forget who it was. It was one of the Krasenstein brothers who like they're the biggest grifters in the world. They one of them tweeted out like it's like breakfast tacos, and he's like, look, they're only $3, and like people were like, yeah, there's no inflation here. And actually like looked at the price history, and they used to be like $1.99. So like it's like sure, it's like a 50% increase, but no worries here. Yeah, that's there's no inflation.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
See, what theme parks did you like, Walter? You probably went to Hershey Park, right?
No, I've never been to Hershey Park.
Whoa! What?
I've never been to Hershey Park. Is that weird?
Are you being serious?
I live an hour and a half away from Hershey Park. Why would I go there?
Well, I can't believe that. I lived like less than an hour from there. It was like 45 minutes, 50 minutes. So I used to go to it's a good theme park. It has some really good rides. I've
driven by it. I was at a wedding that wasn't Hershey. So I drove by it, but that's like, I think this is the last time I've been to Hershey was my developer, his name's Dennis. He got married in 2009. And that's when I went to Hershey. But that was the last time I've been to Hershey. So wow. that was actually the start of Jerks of the Week, because this girl I liked in college, the blonde lawyer that I talked about in my book, I asked her to go to this wedding with me, and she said yes. And then like a week or two later, she's like, well, I'm starting work at this new law firm, and they're having like this meet and greet. She's like, I'd feel horrible if I didn't go. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I don't know if it's a real excuse, but that's what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that was the genesis of Jerks of the Week when I was talking about that. But
shoot, now I forgot. I was going to say something about Hershey Park now. So I don't know if I can't. I'm just so shocked that you haven't been there. But are you aware that they have like the Chocolate Factory tour ride? It's like a giant gift shop, and they have this. It's just like this, like a people mover, like sort of slow moving ride.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is how we make the chocolate and the cocoa beans, sure. And and there's like a whole like song and dance. There's like singing cows and stuff, animatronic cows. But at the end of the ride, you get off, and then there's Hershey Park employees there, and they have like you get a free piece of candy at the end of the ride. And it was just like a fun size, like peanut butter cup or Hershey's bar or whatever. But like as a kid, it was like, yeah, like you got so excited about it. One time, this only happened one time. They always gave a piece of candy afterwards. And then one time I went, Walter, and they didn't have candy. They gave these teal blue Jolly Rancher bandanas. And I was like, get out of my face with this crap. I was so livid. And that's the only time I almost felt, another time I was upset with Hershey Park. These are well documented. So I hadn't been there. So at the end of the ride, for anyone who might know, Hershey's chocolate, real milk chocolate. It's a Hershey's chocolate world. It's like this. They play it at the end of the ride, and it has like I've been listening to that song since I was like 7 years old, and it was just like a catchy jingle, and like this gave me so much nostalgia. This was back in 2019, and I brought my girlfriend at the time up, and like we went to Hershey Park. I was like, like this is just like something from my childhood. Like I was like, here comes the song, and it was like some like. I don't know. It was like some sort of remix. And it wasn't even that song. It was a completely different. Walter, you've known me for a long time, and I don't get like this often. I almost wrote a freaking letter.
Wow.
I'm serious. I was hot. I couldn't believe it. I was really upset about that. It's such like an iconic like part of the trip, and I don't know. Like it always made me feel like very nostalgic because like I started going there when I was 7, and even when you're older, you're like, oh man, like it just makes you think of simpler times. I almost wrote a letter.
Right. A harshly worded letter.
Yeah.
I when you said that, I was about to say, like the pink letter in Game of Thrones, but then that's the book, and you haven't even gotten there yet. Not that it's in the show, but no, it's a precursor to Battle of the Bastards, where one bastard sends a letter, supposedly sends a letter to the other bastard saying like it starts like bastard, and then that's just like it's like these like horrible words that he sends. But there's actually a theory going on that the first bastard didn't actually send it. So it's like one of the things that people have been wondering about in book 5 or heading into book 6 that we haven't gotten an answer for in 14 years. So that's another story.
Oh man, yeah, it's what do we have here?
Like saying if Walt can't park in the Hershey Park parking lot and make football bets, he has no interest in going there. Yeah.
Well, no, you go to New Jersey for
Rainmakers.
For Rainmakers, that's right.
Yes.
I was going to say you can do it there.
Yeah, no, I mean it's still Pennsylvania, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Actually, Cassandra gave me a heads up on Twitter saying that that the Thunder were playing last Tuesday, which is when I was thinking about going. But I went after the show with Jacob, so it was like 1 a.m. or 1:30 a.m. when I got there. So like it was, but like when I was pulling in, I was like, oh, I wonder if we'll see more cars than usual or like trash on the ground. And I was right there, like there were more cars there than usual. And then there was some trash on the ground too. So I was like, oh yeah, it looks like there was a game here. So
geez, you should have why don't you just get a ticket to the game and make your lineups during the game? Then you could, I'm telling you, you could quickly become the beat writers for the Trent Thunder. If we were so inclined, I'd help you with it.
I think my wife would throw me out of the house if I, instead of putting my son to bed, if I went to a Trent Thunder baseball game.
It's not even like a major game.
It's not even Phillies game.
You're going into like some like random like minor league.
Right. No. It will not work. It will not work. Maybe before we had kids, yes, maybe, but not now. Sue says, I haven't eaten or purchased any Hershey products since they fired their unvaccinated workers. Yeah, they did a lot of shady stuff too. Like they did a lot of like it's not Hershey. It's like I forget what they did exactly, but like they did something with that for the trans stuff. I didn't know they fired their unvaccinated workers. That's another reason to not like Hershey's.
I still contend that by a landslide, the getting rid of the Hershey's Chocolate World song is worse.
Well,
you're not going to.
They ruin everything. They like I've talked about McDonald's and not the price of the cheeseburgers, but like the buildings are like all gray, this like drab like buildings. They all look the same. Whereas before, like each had its unique play place. And like I remember being a kid driving by a different McDonald's, like, oh, that looks like a cool play place. I want to go there, you know?
Yeah.
Now they have no play places. They're all gray buildings. And I had Ben Wassley from Australia on the show. Was it now like a couple weeks ago now? Or maybe it was last week. And he said, I asked him, I was like, how are the McDonald's in Australia? And he's like, yeah, about half of them have play places and some of them are cafes. And I'm like, why don't we have that here? Like, why is it like all like the same, like gray stuff? It's almost like communist, you know, like everything's the same, you know, nothing can stand out. It's horrible. I don't know why they did that. They ruined a lot of stuff. Like Pizza Hut used to have like, you know, those red cups and those lights and the salad bar, like, and now it's all the same stuff. They changed they changed.
Glass.
Yeah. They changed their ingredients. It's like all the fast food pizzas the same now. It's really bad. It's discouraging. I would love to own like a pizza chain or burger chain or something that would be like more focused on the family. And McDonald's slogan used to be food, folks, and fun, and they changed it to I'm loving it. So
I love the jingle, man.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm if you change I'm loving it to I am loving it, if you rearrange the letters, it spells ailing vomit. It's true.
Did you figure this out on your own?
Someone told me when they first. My friend Andrew, like the weirdest thing, he just disappeared off the face of the earth. I couldn't. I don't know. We used to be good friends.
Oh, geez.
In like college, and but he was in high school at the time when I was in college. He's a couple years younger than me. But yeah, we used to be good friends. Like he's from my area, and like one day, like he just, well, I wouldn't say one day, but like he just wouldn't log on to AIM anymore. So I, talked to him when I was at Penn State, and then just try to contact him, like nothing, like no answer, nothing.
Wow.
Like it just it's weird. Fell off the face of the earth, but he's the one who told me about it. Always remember that. So.
Wow. Hey, speaking of McDonald's, did you hear that Morgan Spurlock passed away like a couple weeks ago? The guy that made the Super Size Me documentary.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, rest in peace. Morgan Spurlock. But you know what's interesting? I want to tell a funny story about the Super Size Me documentary. If you haven't seen it, came out in I believe 2004, 2003 or 2004. I think it was 4. But anyhow, I feel like this is canon, but maybe not. This guy Morgan Spurlock, who just recently passed away, he ate McDonald's every meal for an entire month and like monitored like his health, like documented all the changes in his health and did all these interviews along the way. But what I always thought was weird about that is that do you remember the part when he wanted to when he got the double quarter pounder meal and then he threw up?
I never saw it, so I don't know. You're telling me stuff I never saw.
You should see it. You should see it. I know you don't like documentaries.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll trade out the WNBA game watching that for if you watch Super Size Me. But here was the main point I was going to make. When that came out, everyone was like, "Oh, when you watch it, you're never going to eat McDonald's again. Oh, you're going to be sick." It's like, so my cousin Danny and I watched it, and I just looked over at him. Credits roll, movies over. I look over at him. And my cousin Danny goes, "Huh, kind of want to go to McD's right now."
Yeah. It's such disgusting food. I can't eat it anymore. It's I like the Egg McMuffins. They're pretty good.
Yeah,
but like the burgers are so bad. Like I'd rather get burgers from anywhere else.
Really, I think the double cheeseburger, extra pickle, extra onion is good there. That's like if I go there, that's like the only thing I get. But yeah, in the movie, and I'm not throwing any shade at him at all, especially since he's recently passed. But he ate a supersized double quarter pounder meal. It's like I don't know. And then he's in the car and he leans out and throws up, but you never see him actually do it. You just see him retching, leaning out the window, and then you see it on the ground. I'm going to contend that didn't actually happen. I mean, Come on, a supersized double quarter pounder meal, like, yeah, that's a lot of food. It's not that much food. It's not that much. But in his defense, his girlfriend was a vegan chef, so he was probably eating like really good stuff a lot. and then like that. So I will give him. And again, I'm not throwing any shade at the guy, but I always wondered if they set that up, like, hey, like just get like a bucket, like a fish chum or something, retch out the window, and then we'll throw it there, and then we'll pan the camera down, because that definitely could have happened. That definitely could have happened.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know what you're talking about though, but
yeah, I just thought that was strange. Like, so I guess the point I'm making is like, who would throw up from? I don't think it's enough food to like make you sick.
I don't know. You could have had a stomach bug or something. So it could have been other implications. I don't know. Bryce, I almost wrote a freaking letter.
Hey, thanks, Bryce. It's always nice to meet someone who appreciates my work. Thank you for being here, buddy.
All right. Do you want to venture into covered calls, which I call an easy way to make free money on the stock market with no real risks?
I want to get into this. Let's do, because I have some questions too, but maybe to help the viewers, like I'll pose a couple questions about calls and puts to you if you don't, if that sounds good to you, because I've dabbled in the options.
Yes.
Calls is like, what are calls exactly? You pick a strike price and a strike date, and if the stock goes above that, like if it closes on the strike date above that price, you can get 100 shares at that price that you bought the strike price. Is that correct? Or if not, explain it to everyone at home.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically gambling on what the price will be. For example, if you think GameStop will be $50 next week, this is the June 14th options chain, and they have one every week. Most stocks have one for every week. Sometimes they'll have them, like some smaller companies will have one every month. The SPY, which is the Spire 500, has one for every day, which is like a lot of degenerates gamble on that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Would you compare it to an over-under, Walt?
So yeah, I guess so. It's like season win total over-under.
Okay.
Sort of, yeah. So basically, what you're doing is, this is important to discuss what calls are. This is not what I'm talking about. It's called cut. This is what I'm going to be talking about. It's called cover calls. No, but I was going to start it by introducing what calls and puts were. So,
okay.
So like $50 for June 4th. So June 14th is $50. If you think GameStop is going to be trading above $50, or think the stock is going to skyrocket, it doesn't really matter. You could buy a call for $2.81. It says $2.81. Each call is a contract for 100 shares. So you multiply by 100. So this would be 281. So you could buy this call, $50 call for June 14th for $281. Now, if the stock stays about the same or moves up a little bit, you will not make money on it. In fact, it will become worthless by June 14th. And so you will lose the $281 if you hold on to it. Generally, if you feel like the stock isn't moving and you want to give up on it, then you could probably sell it for like half the price, or 75 or like 25% of the price, or it depends on how it moves. But on the other hand, if like GameStop soars to like $80, this call is going to be worth way more than that. It's going to be it's probably going to be in the thousands, and so you're going to profit really well. And yeah, a call is basically it's a contract to say I will buy 100 shares at $50. And I tell people this, and they're like, I don't have the money to buy 100 shares at $50. Like even 100 shares at $50 would be $5,000. So like they just don't have the money to do that. But like no one I shouldn't say no one. Like it sometimes happens, but like most people don't exercise their calls. They'll just sell the option. So like if GameStop skyrockets and it's worth this option is worth like $12,000 or $15,000, you could just sell it for $12,000 or $15,000, and you don't even have to worry about buying any shares. And like that's how it usually works. Like I said, it's really rare for anyone to exercise their calls. Now, I think it'll happen with Roaring Kitty, because I think he really wants the shares, and he's a 100x millionaire. Like he's worth like almost $500 million or something. So he has the money to buy GameStop shares, and I think he really wants the shares. So you can do it if you want the shares and if you're super rich, but generally people will just sell the call. Like I took out for GameStop. I think I told you on Tuesday or Wednesday, or I think I announced on Twitter. I took out a July 19th call for $125, and it costs $200 and by Friday morning it was worth $800. Right, yeah. So I quadrupled my money, which is nice, but there was the risk that if it didn't move, it would have been worthless eventually. So I would have had to have sold it before that. So you never should, if you dabble into options, which I would only recommend if you're really experienced in stock trading. If you dabble into options, don't ever allow anything to expire worthless. Just try to sell it if you've lost faith in the play. Try to salvage something, but so puts work the other way. If you think GameStop's going to go down, it's currently $28.22. If you buy a $20 put, it is for 68 cents. So times $168. So yeah, if the stock goes down, it's going to be worth a lot. I told you on Friday that I bought puts because they were heading into the call with what's his face, Roy and Kitty, and also because they diluted some shares. Now I didn't really make much money off of it. I made a tiny bit because the stock price went down, and I thought hey, it went down enough, it's not going to go down during the call. But Roy and Kitty was a half hour late, and he was in a cast, and he didn't really say anything. I bought $25 calls for $16. I bought three. Wow. I bought 3 contracts, so I spent $48 on it. Right. I sold it for $56. I made $8, so whatever, it didn't matter. If I would have held through his live stream, those $16 calls were worth $80. So I would have quintupled my money. Yeah. So yeah, I made a mistake there by selling too early, but just making sure I profited and didn't take on too much risk. So that is calls and puts in a nutshell, but this is not what I'm going to be talking about. But it's important to know what these are, because cover calls have to do with these calls. So I don't know if you have any questions before we move on.
Let's get into it. I have a question about puts, but that's not what we're talking about. Let's get into cover calls, because I don't exactly know. I mean, I have a small idea just based on our text, but okay. Let's get into cover calls. I'm interested to hear this.
Okay, so when I was explaining calls and puts to my mom when she was cutting my hair, she was like, and I finished explaining, she's like, "That sounds like a scam." I'm like, yeah, it kind of is, because most people lose money on it. It's a lot of people's hopes and dreams go on it, and yeah, you can make a ton of money on options, but you could lose your shirt too. Mm-hmm. There was someone who this is about a week ago. The stock market was plummeting, and this guy bought out far out of the money calls in the last hour of the day, and it cost him 1 cent because it was expiring that in an hour. He bought it for 1 cent, or maybe it was 2 cents. I forgot. I think it was 2 cents. So $2 a contract. He bought 20 contracts or something. I forget how many contracts. It skyrocketed to $125 an option because the market ripped at the end of the day. And I think Unusual Whale said if he put 2,000 into it, he would have made $8 million. That's wow. I know that's how much money you can make on these calls. But like I said, you could lose a lot of money as well, because a lot of people don't realize sometimes you're buying calls and puts on inflated prices, and time is a factor. It's called theta decay. Time is a huge factor, and so you could buy a call on a company on a soon to be expiring date, either that Friday or the next Friday, and 2 hours or 3 hours will pass by, and if the stock price is the same, you're probably going to lose 5 to 10%, just because there's time decay on these contracts. Mm-hmm. Because there's less time that it'll meet a certain threshold. So anyway, my mom was like, "Yeah, it's a scam." I'm like, "Yeah, it is a scam." However, on the other side of the coin, what if you could sell the calls to people who are trying to strike it rich? And so this is what I've been doing for months now. So I've been selling $100 calls on GameStop, which you can do if you have 100 shares of a company or multiple of 100 shares. So let's keep it to 100 shares right now. If you have 100 shares of GameStop, you can go into the options chain and go to $100. This is for this Friday coming up, June 14th. Go to $100. It'll say so the bid they ask that you're selling on the bid 100. So 120. So that's $120. You sell this covered call, you get $120 into your account, just like that. just like that. And you can spend, like, it has a T+1 settlement, as is all stocks and all options. So the next day you can spend this $120 on whatever you want. You can reinvest into GameStop. You can reinvest in something else. You could transfer it to your bank account. You can do anything with it. It's yours. There's no catch. There's nothing. You just get $120 for free. And so you got to be wondering, like, wait, what's the downside here? Because let's say you have 1,000 shares of GameStop. That's 10 contracts. Remember, 1,000 divided by 10. You could sell 10 of these contracts, and you get $1,200 into your bank account, into your trading account, just like that, just $1,200. And this works with any company.
I think
anything.
And
you might be wondering, like, how's this possible? Yeah. I don't know what you heard, but like, you might be wondering, like, how is this possible? How could you just get $120 or 120 times however many contracts? Like I said, if you have 1,000 shares, that's $1,200. If you have 2,000 shares, that's $2,400 into your account. So you're like, wait, what's the catch here? This sounds like too good to be true. Well, the only catch is if the stock goes above $100 in this scenario. Now, again, like, you could sell $70 calls to get more money. You could sell $125 calls to get little less money. If the stock reaches $100 or more, your shares will be assigned, which means you will be forced to sell your shares at $100 a share. And that doesn't sound like too bad of a deal, right? Because GameStop right now is worth $28, and you're saying, okay, I'll be forced to sell at $100. That's a really good profit that you're almost quadrupling your money. But there is curved upside. So if the stocks keep soaring and like goes to 200, hypothetically, I don't think it will, but hypothetically, if it goes to 200, you'll still be forced to sell at $100, which, like, you'll be upset over. But this is why I go to $100. I ask myself when I do this, I'm like, what is the price at which I'm comfortable selling this? And in my mind, like I said, I'm more than happy if I quadruple my money on GameStop. Now, if it goes to 200, if there's a MOAS, when the mother of all short squeezes, and I lose out on much more gains, then so be it. But I'd rather get the money and reinvest it. I use this money to buy more shares. They're basically free shares at that point, or like shares of other companies. So there's that. There's just curbed upside. I'd say the only risk, and this is the same if you own any stock, the only risk is that the stock price goes down, which is like, if you're already invested in this company, then you already take on that risk that the stock price goes down. So like that's really the only thing you have to worry about. Now, I would, like I said, you can go to like $50. Remember I was saying you could buy a $50 call for $281. You could sell a $50 call for $280. So it's $280 per contract. If you have 1,000 shares at GameStop, that's $2,800. And you can do this every week. Like 2,800 this week, 2,800 the next week. That's more than 10 grand a month. That you get just for selling covered calls. Now, the risk here is $50. Personally, I would not be comfortable selling GameStop for $50. I think it has potential to go much higher, even though I'd get more money per call or per contract here. I just don't want that risk where I feel like it could easily hit 50 like it did on Thursday, or after hours on Thursday. So that's the thing. Like, yeah, this could look really tantalizing. Like $35 call, I sell for $4 a contract, which is $400 for every 100 shares. Like that's insane money. But you run the risk of like, hey, I'm gonna have to sell GameStop at $35 when it went to 100. You feel like pretty salty. But yeah, I mean, you could do this for any stock as long as you have 100 shares. And you need the 100 shares, and that's why it's called covered call, because it's basically your position's covered, whereas you have to have the collateral, which is the 100 shares. So you would have to sell them. If you don't have the 100 shares and you do this, like, first of all, most brokerages won't allow you to do it unless you're like super rich. That's called the naked call, where you don't have the collateral, which I guess would be the money at that point. You need the money to kind of back that up, because if it hit $100 and you didn't have the shares, you'd have to buy the shares. Which would get really expensive. So as long as you have the shares, there's no risk, there's no downside to this. It's all upside. Like I said, the upside is curbed if it skyrockets, but like I said, that's why I pick a price where I'm okay with selling it. So yeah, I don't know if you had any questions. So
yeah. So I guess. So I'm going to pick a price. I understand that concept. I'm going to pick a strike price where I'm comfortable selling. Let's use 100 in the example again.
Okay.
So with a covered call, let's say it hits 100, I'm forced to sell it.
Yes.
And I'm not making as much then, or I'm just missing out on whatever went past 100 because I didn't choose a different strike price.
Right.
Like you're not penalized if it. Like okay. I didn't think so, but I just want to make sure. So then, if you have 100 shares, you can only buy one contract, or is it as long as now I get it because you said you have to have the collateral. Okay.
Yes. So if you have 200 shares, you could do two. You sell two contracts. That's $240 here.
So I guess I just don't understand like why they put the 120 in the account, and where are you getting that number from? Because like that's the amount you're paying for the covered call itself. Is that correct?
That's the money you're receiving for the cover call. It's the money you're selling a contract. And like where you
you're selling like a contract on your own shares.
Yes.
Okay. It's making more sense now.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, where do you get this number from? You go to the options tab in your brokerage account. And it'll have the options chain. So yeah, you just, and it'll change. If the stock goes up, these will be worth a lot more. On Friday, when it was like 38 a share or 40 a share, whatever it was, in the morning, this 120 was like 310. So if you sold like a contract, then you would have gotten $310 just for free. And then, by the time next Friday rolls around, if this is not anywhere near 100, it'll say 0 cents, 1 cent. So if you want to buy it back, you all you have to do is pay $1 just to buy it back. And you might be wondering, like, why would I buy it back? Because you can't sell multiple contracts on the same 100 shares. So next Friday, say the stock is like $35, right? It'll be 0 cent, 1 cent. And so you could let it expire and you don't have to worry about it at all. But on that Friday, you might be wondering, like, hey, I want to sell another cover call for June 21st and just get rid of this June 14th one. So what I do is, when it goes down to $1 or like 1 cent or 2 cents or whatever, I'll just buy it back, and then I'll just sell the cover call for the next week. And like the further it goes out, the more it is, because it has more time to mature. So June 21st, the $100 the strike price is $189. So it's $189 if you do this. So it'll always be worth more as time goes on. And by the end of the week, as the time really dwindles for this $100 to mature, the options price will really plummet. Which is what I was talking about before. Like, you should never let your contract go worthless. That would be the case in that scenario if you were buying these calls instead of selling them.
So my next question then, and that was a good explanation. So my next question is, how far are you? Like, are you doing like a week in advance, or like are you doing like months in advance for your strike date? What do you eye up there?
Yeah, it's a good question. I do a week in advance because I don't want to be trapped in something for too long, because you can't sell your shares if you have covered calls out. If you want to say, hypothetically, if you want, like, for some reason, if I wanted to sell my GameStop shares, like if I really needed the money, like, I don't know, something horrible happened, I needed the money and I wanted to cash out, I'd have to buy back the covered calls. And I guess that's the risk. Like, you'd have to buy back the covered calls, but generally, like, it's going to be worth less than you paid than you received, unless like the stock went up a lot, you would have to buy back the cover calls, and then you can sell your shares.
That makes. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was saying, like, so if you're in like really deep, like if you're in like a month in advance, like it's gonna be worth a lot more. So to get out, you're gonna have to pay a lot more to get out. You know what I mean? So also, like, if GameStop goes to 50 this week, for example, I'll be able to maybe I won't sell cover calls for $100 the next week. Maybe I won't sell $100 cover calls next week. Maybe I want to sell $125 cover calls next week because like suddenly I'm like, oh, I think it'll go to 125. Now I'm like more confident it's going to go to 125. So that's why like I don't want to be trapped into a position for too long. So I do this every week on Friday or maybe Thursday, whenever it goes to like $1 or like 1 cent or 2 cent to buy back, I will buy back and then I will sell the cover call for the following Friday.
This is making more sense. That was another good explanation because so you don't want to buy it too far out because you're locked in those shares. Like like you said, if for some reason you want to sell them, you can't. So, but for a week, unless you buy back. Unless you buy to close the option, without jumping through hoops.
Right.
Was what I should have implied there, but. Yeah, so that's why you only buy them a week out because you don't want to be like, oh, I have to hold on to these for 4 months, sort of thing, no matter what, if something happened or you needed to get them out or whatever.
Exactly.
So, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, I think I might look into it. I do not have 100 shares of GameStop, so I can't do it for GameStop, but I may try it for some other stocks in the future.
Yeah, I mean, they have option chains for most stocks, like. Unless it's like they don't have it for penny stocks. Like sometimes they'll have like a month out for penny stocks. But GameStop is especially great to do this for because so many people buy calls because there's so much mania with GameStop that that like the prices of these options are very high. And so that's why it's difficult to buy calls unless you really think it's going to skyrocket. But yeah, I think this is an easy way to get money. Like I said, like if you have Swamp Smash videos as asking for a portfolio reveal. I don't know if you guys want, I could do it if like there's more demand for it, I could do it. I actually have
give away your secrets, man.
I have four different accounts. I have my regular account, which doesn't have much money in it. I have my IRA, I have my Roth, and I have my son's account, which I manage. And like I've GameStop shares in all four. My son doesn't have enough shares to sell cover calls, but my other 3 accounts do. And so that's what I said, especially my IRA accounts, which don't get taxed. I will take all the profits I make from these cover calls and just buy more shares of GameStop, which means I can sell more cover calls each week. And so the money just grows exponentially. And so, I mean, it's like I said, it's great. It's like I said, it's free money on the market with no risk, no real risk. Like I said, the only risk is that the stock price drops, but I'm already invested in the company. So I was already taking on that risk. So, I mean, I highly recommend this. It's fantastic.
I'll definitely be checking it out. I had a wild ride with GameStop on Thursday, but it ended up panning out for me. Okay. I had 50 shares at 33 and now I can't even remember. I don't have it in front of me. I think I made about $600 or $700.
Nice.
And then I got back in though. I'm currently holding 15 shares at an average price of $37.14. Okay. So let me ask you this, like, because you have been very confident about this, for some time in what I'm going to call the, round 2 here with GameStop.
It's actually like round 4, but it's
okay.
Well, like I guess because it was
round 2 for me.
Yeah, it was January 2021. It went to I bought my shares initially at $5. It skyrocketed to $150, and then it went down to $105, and that's when I sold because that was like a magic number that I had in mind. I'm like, yeah, I didn't have a hard stop loss. I don't believe in setting hard stop losses because the market makers will see it and they'll make sure that it sees it. But like, I'll have like mental stop losses. I'm like, if this goes down to 105, I'm like, yeah, I'll sell. So I sold at 105. And it went down to like 65 at the end of the day. This was January 25th. I remember like the back of my hand, or I know like the back of my hand. And I felt super smart. I was like, yeah, I sold at 105. It went down to 65. Yeah, I could have sold at 150, but you know what? I was hoping it would go up more. So, the next day it went to 80 by the end of the day. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe it'll go up again. And then by Wednesday, this is when Elon Musk tweeted it out. He's like, oh, I'm going to look into this GameStop thing. And as soon as Elon Musk tweeted it out, it went to like 200. It went to like 200 something by the end of Wednesday. And then on Thursday morning, it went to 480 a share. So I could have almost quintupled what I sold it for. So I unfortunately I didn't. That is when they took away the buy button. That's the famous Robinhood, and then E-Trade did it the same. Like a bunch of other brokerages took away the buy button, and that's when GameStop collapsed. That the second one was March of 2021. It shot up to like 320. And I still had I bought back some shares at $40, and so I sold like half my position at 320. And then the third one was actually a few weeks ago when it went from $10 to I think it was 60. And then now, like this was the fourth run where it went from 20 or like 8.19 or something, went from 19 to what was the pre-market price, like 61 or something, or like whatever the price was. So yeah, it had 4 squeezes so far. But yeah, this is, I mean, it's basically around 2 overall. Because I mean, if you want to combine January and March of 2021 is 1, that's fair. And if you want to combine these 2, that's fair too. So yeah,
I remember that day very well. I have a decent story about that day, the first one that you won in January. Because we had just started. You had told me about GameStop when it was $5, and that was the first stock I ever bought. I had like 60 shares. No, yeah. I think but I didn't know anything about it. Like, I'd never traded a stock before. I was like, oh, like I made a pretty nice profit here. I didn't know what was going on. But then I had bought, my cousin told me about AMC, and I bought 220 shares of 225 of AMC. And then like 3 days later in the pre-market, it went, that was the same day you're talking about when what was the buy, but what was the button got taken away?
January 28th. I remember it so clearly. It was actually my mom's birthday.
Oh, really?
Yes, I remember talking about it that night at length.
So I will never. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I wasn't saying anything.
Okay. So I will never forget this day. I was staying with my dad at the time, and I was up for pre-market. I was up like $4,000 overnight. Yeah. And I just bought this like 3 days ago, not maybe, and like at that point, then I realized like the magnitude of what was going on with the meme stocks and everything. At that point, again, like I just started trading. Like I don't really know what I'm doing, kind of still don't. But anyhow, and my dad was walking out the door, and I was like, Dad, like I just made like $4,000 like overnight, and he was like, you should sell it.
Yeah,
and I was like, no. I was like, this is supposed to go crazy, and he just like stopped. And he looked at me. He's like, okay, well, you do what you want. And I was like, you know what? I am going to sell it. So I sold it. I made $4,000. It nosedived the next day. Yeah. And then I got back in at 550, and it went up to freaking like 60 or something. 60, I played it. And when I got back into it was, I mean, and it's dumb luck mostly. It never, I was never negative when I got back in at 550. Mm-hmm. But it's like talk about because, and somehow like I didn't even know what I was doing. I think I was on. What was I trading all the time? Maybe like Charles Schwab or something. And I was like, sell. I was like, what's a limit and what's a market?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, but like suddenly, like it wasn't processing. I was like, what's happening? And then it sold. And then later that day, you were texting me about what Robinhood did. So I contend that I might have just made the cut to be able to sell it.
Well, no,
I'm glad my dad said that.
You could always sell it. They just didn't allow you to buy this.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Yeah. Just disregard that last part. But I was that was all. My dad just looked at me like, come on, like for that, like just sell it. And then it ended up working out perfectly. It went down. I wasn't holding any bags. I got back in, and then it went back. So I really appreciate that, man. You really helped me out back then. Walter, you always know or on the inside of like everything. I feel like. It's something I've always really admired about you. Not that we're going to get sappy here, but that's awesome, man. That's awesome, man.
I first found GameStop in May of 2020, and it was selling at an all-time low. It was like 480 or something. And I was like, oh, that's weird. It's I'm like, yeah, I mean, everything is closed with the pandemic, but I was like, this is not that serious. Like, whatever, we can go into the pandemic, but like, I was like I imagine the stores be open soon. And also I knew that the PS5 was coming out that December, and I was like, I bet GameStop will go to like $10 by December. And so I bought, I forget how many shares of GameStop I bought initially. And then I'll buy a stock, and then I'll do some research, like, because like you can do it the other way, but like, if you don't like the research, you could just sell it like right away. So I was doing some research into it, and like I read like I saw a lot of like forum threads on Reddit and stuff like that about like short selling, and I was like, oh, what's short selling? And so I went into this deep dive. I got really deep into the short stuff. I'm like, this company, and like once I understood what the short selling stuff was, like I was like, this company's 140% shorted. I was like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
And I'm like, but they have PS5 coming out in December. I'm like, it'll go up. And then there was like shady stuff happened in pre-market and post-market where like the stock would go like 4 to 6 instantly. And like by the open, it would be like 420. I'm like, what is happening here? That was actually Ryan Cohen was buying shares in pre-market or something. Ryan Cohen, now the CEO of GameStop. He was the CEO of Chewy. He's a billionaire. He bought like 10% of the company, and he kicked out all the old board members who were doing a terrible job, and he installed himself. And like once Ryan Cohen got on board, I'm like, this could really go, because like Ryan Cohen's like a genius when it comes to business and stuff. And like he had this whole vision for GameStop and stuff like that. So I was like, with the short selling stuff and Ryan Cohen, I'm like, I think this is going to skyrocket. And I was like, the $100 thing actually entered my mind. I was like, I think this could soar to 100. Like, because I read about the Volkswagen short squeeze, which is
I remember that.
The price. Yeah, it went insane. So I was like, this could happen again. And so I held. I never sold any shares from when I bought it $5. It actually went as low as 380 when I was in Vegas that summer entering the super contest.
Wow.
And like I bought a few shares then, but like, man, I was kind of salty I didn't buy more, obviously. But you just never know, because that was the all-time low. And like I felt like kind of dumb. Like, yeah, I bought this at 5, not 380. You know how it feels. Like
right.
You start doubting yourself. Like, but I never sold it.
This is interesting, Walt, because now that I didn't put 2 and 2 together on this until right this second. This is oddly because so I don't think I was clear about. So on Thursday, I might have told you this too. You gave a great example that with Gil going live, we heard the news on Thursday, and it was
John saying I told you to sell the news.
I did, John.
That's why I bought puts. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So I sold 90% of my holding, and then I was completely sold. I kept 10, and then I got out by 10 a.m. I think I told you that, but I sent that to a couple people that I know that were holding, and I said, buy, because it's going to rip right out of the gate, and it did. It was still down, but it was down big in pre-market. It ripped, and then every time that happens, this is just based on the eye test. Every time that happens with AMC or GME, like after a big day, it'll rip right out of the gate, and people go crazy for like 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, and then get out. And that's what I did. Now I got back in. So I'm like with 15. So I sold the 50 shares, and now I'm back in with 15, holding bags on that. But I ended up being just like the AMC thing. I kind of got that correct with decent timing. It didn't play out exactly the way, because I am holding a few bags, but I still made a profit.
Yeah.
Do you think so? With all that said, do you think this could be similar to because in my mind, I feel like, oh, it'll never be as big as it was before. Do you think it could be? And if not, how close do you think it could get? This is not financial advice.
Yes, it's not financial advice. This is what I think. It's what I'm doing. I think it will hit 100. I mean, this, I'm selling cover costs for 100. I think it'll hit 100. It fell on Friday because they diluted shares, which was smart for them. Like, yeah, they stopped the momentum, and like they thwarted Roaring Kitty from being a billionaire, which he would have been at $69. But no, they diluted 75 million shares, which is like very unlike AMC. Adam Aron's the CEO of AMC. He's notorious for diluting at the bottom, because AMC is basically a broken company and they have so much debt. They have like 6-7 billion in debt or something.
Oh,
so when they make money off of diluting the shares, they are paying their debt. That's the difference. When GameStop is diluting, they're having money to buy stuff and like expand their company. They now have almost 5 billion in cash, and they have no debt, and they're profitable. This is not a meme stock. This is like Ryan Cohen has transformed this company, and this is another selling point. I put this on the site back when I had the stock section of the site. When I was doing my research on GameStop, and they had their Q2 earnings that year. I think it was like in July. They showed how much money they were making from their online sales, which is important back then because of COVID. They made like $2 billion in online sales. I was like, wow, that is a lot of money. So like this company is going online, and like Ryan Cohen, like when he went on board, he talked about how he wanted same day delivery for games. And so, yeah, so I was like, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. He wants to expand his online business. He's going to close unprofitable stores. He's basically cut the fat. And like he actually wrote, he was a 10% stakeholder in Bed Bath & Beyond before he sold. There's a letter you can read that he wrote to the board members of Bed Bath & Beyond. He's like, yeah, this is how I fix everything. And it's kind of like the same model that he's doing for GameStop. Unfortunately, the Bed Bath & Beyond, the board members didn't listen to him. Because I don't know why, but then now the company went bankrupt. But like I like his vision. When GameStop was being heavily shorted in 2020, it had debt. It had, I want to say like $1 billion in debt or something, or maybe 1.5 billion in debt or something. I forget what it was. But now they have no debt and they have $5 billion in cash. So like I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they'll buy Stream or something. I forget. But yeah, it's exciting. I'm very excited for the company. Like I said, I haven't sold any shares. I've been writing cover calls the entire time. John said sell the news. I did via buying puts, but I'm not going to sell my shares. I just believe in the company too much. And I'm profiting off of cover calls. So yeah, I'm content right now. So
let me play devil's advocate with what might be a stupid question. Maybe other people are thinking it too, or maybe it's just me. Well, Walt, didn't GameStop do a 4-to-1 split? So, like, if you think it's going to go over 100, isn't that kind of like saying that you think it's like worth 400?
Yes.
So you believe that then? Is that?
Yeah. Because back when it was 480 the first time, which was it was a gamma squeeze, and also I guess short squeeze too. They didn't have all this money. They still had. I think they still had that back then. I think they lowered the debt to like 500 million. Like when Ryan Cohen came in, he sold the private jet and stuff, and he sold a bunch of locations and whatnot. So he was able to make up some money. And I think at that point they had instead of 1.5 billion in debt, they dropped it to 500 million in debt, and then they did their first dilution at 320 in March, I think, and that's when they cleared the debt and they got up to $1 billion or $2 billion, and they got up to $1 billion in cash, and they got up to $2 billion in cash in a few weeks ago, and now they're up to $4 or $5 billion in cash with this latest offering. So the company is much different now than it was when it hit 480 the first time. And I know that was part of a squeeze and stuff, but there could easily be another squeeze. I mean, there was last week, and the amount of short interest on the stock is higher than it was back then. It's not 140% because there are more shares now. But it is the actual number of shares that are short is higher than it was back in January 2021. So I think it'll hit 100 and which is 400 pre-split, and also Interactive Brokers. This guy who runs that company did an interview back then. It's a little bit after January 2021, and he was asked if they didn't take away the buy button, where would this have gone to? And he said the thousands. So they really did some shady crap. Robinhood was first, E-Trade was guilty too. I think all the brokerages eventually took away the buy button. I don't know if everyone did, but most of them did. So yeah, it would have gone much higher. So I mean, I think it could get to 400 again. It got to 320 in March of 2021, which would be 80 right now. So it's not too far away.
What would you say to people? And I appreciate the response. That was a good response, and it was very valuable info as well. What would you say to people who say, "Oh, that this"? Because I have had people be like, it's not really worth that much. It's not really worth that much. What would you say to that in rebuttal?
I mean, I'd point out that they have $5 billion in cash and no debt, and that they're profitable, and then they have a billionaire CEO who doesn't take any salary. His compensation is all GameStop shares. He owns 10% of the company. Actually, I think more than that. I think he now owns 14 or 15%. So he wants the stock price to go up because he's not making any money otherwise. And so I like I said, I appreciate his vision. He took Chewy from nothing to the biggest dog food brand, dog animal, whatever brand there is. And so this guy has been successful in the past. I trust him. He's done nothing but good for the company. He hasn't diluted at the bottom like Adam Aaron does. If he was Adam Aaron, he would have diluted to $10 back a few weeks ago. But no, he waits till the stock skyrockets, and then he's like, hey, I'll just add a couple $1 billion to our coffers here, which is smart. It's not great for the squeeze. It sucks for the squeeze, but he wants to grow the company. Like he's not in it for the squeeze. Like he wants the company to be do super profit. It's already is profitable. He wants it to be super profitable, and people are always going to want to buy video games. And I heard that, like the arguments like, oh, people could just buy video games on Amazon. But the thing is, there's only one place you can go right now where you could sell old games or old systems and get money toward new purchases. You could sell on eBay, but that's a long process. You got to go to the post office. You got to sell. You got to package it. You got to sell it. You got to do all this stuff. But you could just go to the local GameStop store, sell it, and then buy something new. Like that's a very unique thing that GameStop has that you can't get anywhere else at the moment. So, plus, like what I said before, Ryan Cohen wants to have same day delivery and stuff like that. Like he wants to expand the company, and I just don't know what he's going to do with this $5 billion that he has now. It's really interesting. Really looking forward to hearing what he has to say in the future. But yeah, I mean, GameStop is not like these other meme stocks where John is saying like, I think AMC would be next. I haven't sold my shares. The problem with AMC, and like if you're holding your shares, John, I would recommend selling covered calls. I could pull up that. I could pull that up here. Let's see. Let's see how much you could do with AMC with these covered calls. So where's the options chain? Here it is. So this is for January 4th, June 14th. Yeah, you could sell looks like a $12 covered call for Friday for $13. So if you have 500 shares, you're selling for $65. You're getting $65 into your account for nothing. So yeah, and you might be like, I think it's going to go past 12. But the problem is, this is why I bailed from AMC. I sold my AMC and just bought GameStop. The problem with AMC is that Adam Aaron he's either crooked or stupid, and maybe it's both. But he is. I have never seen this before outside of BBIG's CEO. I think Ted Farnsworth. I think he's in prison now. Adam Aaron, I think hates it. I've never seen a CEO hate his investors more than him. He has done nothing but bad for this company ever since that whole ape spinoff. He's sold everything at the bottom. He has never waited for the stock to go up. Whenever there's positive news, he either dilutes or says something negative. Like there was like a court case of some sort where if there was a negative decision, the stock price would have skyrocketed. I forget exactly what it was. It was like I think it was 2 summers ago. But whatever. There was a negative decision in the case that Friday. And I remember AMC, this is pre-split. It went from $5 to like $8, which was a great gain back then. Now it'd be 50 cents to 80 cents, but whatever. No, sorry. Yeah, it would be, it'd be 50 to 80, but it's not 50 anymore. Anyway, so this negative news and negative thing happened in the court case, which sent the stock skyrocketing. Adam Aaron, that day, like an hour after the news came out, he's like, don't read too much into this. We're going to reverse the decision. And then the stock went plummeting. This guy is I think is a crook, like I said, or is a moron. Either he's intentionally driving the company to the ground and is at the behest of hedge funds, or he's just a moron and doesn't know how to run a company. Which I was talking to my accountant because he's a big Sixers fan, and Adam Aaron used to run the Sixers,
right.
And I told him, I was like, yeah, I used to be an AMC, and he was like, oh, I would never be an AMC. Adam Aaron's a moron. I remember him with the Sixers. He didn't know what he was doing. So I was like, yeah, that sounds familiar. Wish I would have looked into what he did with the Sixers before I bought into that company. So I lost some money on AMC. It wasn't a huge deal, but like I could have made so much more if I had sold at 71. It would have been life-changing money. I didn't sell. I just kept it because I thought I bought into what Adam Aaron was saying. Trace Trades, who he's another one. He screwed over his listeners, and he actually had to step away. He did this interview with Adam Aaron, and man, it was so exciting. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. I really bought into it. And it's so stupid. It's like one of the biggest mistakes I made is not selling AMC, which again would have been life-changing money. So,
We've had crooked CEOs and we've had stupid CEOs, but we've never had a crooked, stupid CEO.
Exactly. Yes. Game of Thrones.
Hey, real quick, if I have an idea for us now. What if I started an ETF and we call it Quack Coin or Quacky Coin? Would you buy Quacky Coin?
Sure. Yes. Don't buy Zach Morris coin, by the way.
Okay.
But no,
Zach Morris coin. I think Quacky Coin could make it. Just gotta, just gotta ignite the fire. Just got a couple people buying. I'll just stop.
If you're running it, I trust you, Tom. I would buy a Quacky Coin. Here's our wonderful Zach Morris coin. You can buy it for 6.4 cents.
The Zach Morris coin.
Don't buy Zach Morris coin.
Carmen, thank you for the super sticker.
Yeah, Carmen, thank you so much. The $3 super sticker. Thank you so much, Carmen. Really appreciate it. Glad to see you on. I got a nice little vacation with my Dogecoin.
Oh, there you go. Nice. I never got into Doge. I mean, I knew of its prowess, but
yeah. Remember when Elon was in SNL? Yeah. And I was talking to you about this. This is the same thing with the Rory Kidding stuff. Doge went to like 71 cents or something right before SNL started. And like, I remember being in the Stock Twist chat and like, people were like, he didn't mention it in the monologue. Like people were freaking out. The price was dropping. And then on the weekend update skit that they do, someone was like one of the anchors was asking him about what's it called, about Doge. And he's like, he just kept like sidestepping it. And like the anchor's like, so you're saying it's a scam? He's like, yeah. And then the price like plummeted to like 25 cents that night or something. It was absurd. God. So I feel bad for anyone who bought into it at the very top, which, they're always going to be bag holders, I suppose. But congrats, Carmen, on
that's awesome, Carmen. That's really cool. That's really great.
Yeah. So anyway, John's asking, do you think AMC would be next? My answer is no, because every time there's a rally, Adam Aaron responds with negative news or he dilutes. So yeah, it could. It's 480 right now or something. Let's go back to this. Yeah, it's 487, which was 48 cents before the 1 to 10 reverse split, which that was when I sold, by the way. This is when I sold my AMC because I was like, dude, reverse splits are so bad. And I was wondering, I was like, why is he doing a reverse split? Like the stock was like $5. It's like, or no, it was $2. And like, he didn't really need to do it. I'm like, why is he doing this? And it hit me. I'm like, it's because he's going to dilute. And if he dilutes to $2, it's going to be below $1. And that means he's going to have to do a reverse split. If he does a reverse split now, he's not going to have to do a reverse split. It won't be, he's like, hey, I just want more shares. Like it's such BS. That there was a conference call. No, it was an earnings report call when he was talking. He was eating like popcorn or chips or something at the time, and like I was like, this is so unprofessional. This guy's like a slob. He's like the worst. He's the worst. I hate Adam Aaron.
Slovenly.
Like I said, I've never seen a CEO who hates his investors more than he does. He wants to ruin the company, I think, and he's just doing it at the cost of his investors who are paying for the debt. I don't know. There could be some mini squeezes, and I love how like AMC always moves with GameStop, and like you'll see people tweet out. He's like, hey, GameStop is moving, and then they'll put an AMC out there. It reminds me of like, your friend's like geeky little brother who has to tag along when you're hanging out. Like that's what AMC is to me. It's I don't see any bullish news for AMC on the horizon. Like I said, there's $6 billion in debt. They don't have any money in their coffers. They're diluting like crazy. I had puts on AMC. I had $2 puts on AMC that was dated in January 2025. And I sold those when Zach Morris on Twitter was hyping it. He started hyping AMC. I'm like, all right, let me get out of this. And I sold for like a small profit. But I was like, that's unfortunate because I thought the price would still crater. But I'm looking to get back into AMC puts. But as long as GameStop goes up, AMC stock will go up as sympathy because a lot of people shorting or GameStop are still shorting AMC. So they will move together for now. I think eventually there will be a split. But I do think that the moment it can go up. Like could it hit $10 in a few weeks? Sure. But like that's when Adam Aaron is going to dilute or say something negative about the company. So it really sucks. So Slew says, I was told there was an ETF that mimics Nancy Pelosi's congressional Democrat stock trading. Yes, it's called Unusual Whales. You have to pay for it, but I imagine you would make money off of it because these crooked politicians will trade. Like Nancy Pelosi made $200 million on NVIDIA calls. Think about that, $200 million on NVIDIA calls, and like, was she lucky? No, she voted for the CHIPS Act, which she knew was going to happen. And so she bought calls on NVIDIA before the CHIPS Act was signed. And she knew it was going to get signed because obviously you can talk to other people in Congress. You're like, yeah, we're going to vote for it. So, yeah. So NVIDIA skyrocketed after she bought calls in it. And like, you have Gary Gensler, who's the chairman of the SEC. He goes on these networks with like, with like all these dolts who are like, are there, and they give him like easy questions like, is there any insider trading? He's like, no, there's no insider trading. Like, these people don't have inside information. I'm like, are you kidding me? These people sign these bills and vote on these bills. Like, that's exactly what insider trading is. That's exactly what it is. If the average person did this, they would be in prison like within weeks. Like, and these congressional people just get away with it all the time. It's not just Democrats. Some Republicans do this too. What's his name? Dan Crenshaw. Dan Crenshaw does really well in the stock market, and it's all stuff that he votes on. But I would say it's mostly Democrat. I'd say like it's more likely to be a Democrat. Like I don't think Matt Gaetz makes any money in the stock market or something, for example. But it's more likely than not to be Democrat. But there are rhinos in the Republican Party who are mostly like that. So. It's these people all belong in prison, and Gary Gensler should be in prison as well. I tweeted this, and Stu was responding to me. I was like, the person who puts Gary Gensler in prison should be deemed a national hero. And like there's no doubt he takes a cut. I can't say that with certainty, but I would be shocked if he doesn't take a cut. Nancy Pelosi and all these people don't give him a cut, or at least the insider information that he can invest as well.
I have to go back and correct myself. I was looking at Slew's comment when I mentioned Quacky Coin, and I called it an ETF. I know it's an NFT. I don't even know what my own coin is. I misspoke. Oh, John Sanders. John Sanders says he's into the Quacky Coin. It does have a nice ring to it, I think. How can we start that up?
Let's do it. We'll all be institutional investors here.
Yeah. Okay. Here's what you do. You buy some Quacky Coin, and then you put it on the Florida Panthers. We can finish up some comments. I'll get into my NHL picks in a little.
Yeah. Well, we'll finish up with.
We finish up our.
People. John says people had too much time during COVID, which explains Dogecoin. Yeah. However, Carmen says I bought in at 0.001 ish and sold at 60 cents. That's amazing, Carmen. Good job.
Oh, hey, Carmen, when are you taking me to dinner now? Holy cow! Jeez, congrats. That's awesome. That's awesome.
That is fantastic. Congratulations on that. Yeah, so I mean, I heard all these stories about Bitcoin where like people are like, oh, I could have bought. I was thinking about buying when it was like a cent or 10 cents or whatever, however much it was. Now it's like, yeah, if I bought how much I was going to buy, I'd be like a multi-billionaire now because it's $70,000 of Bitcoin. And it's only going to go up because it's in relation to the dollar. They keep printing money. Like I said, $500 million a day. The Federal Reserve keeps printing. Like they don't print more Bitcoin. There's it's 21 million Bitcoin, and that's it. There's no more. Never more, never less. It's always gonna be 21 million Bitcoin. So it doesn't have inflation, and also what's it called? What's that company? What's that country called? Country Bitcoin. El Salvador. El Salvador. They've adopted Bitcoin as a national currency. So it is now a national currency. So and El Salvador is one of the fastest growing countries in the world. I know a lot of Americans, they've defected to El Salvador, just worried about what's happening with these Democrats and like how they're jailing opponents. Like Steve Bannon has to go to prison suddenly for what? When no one knows. What's his face? Alex Jones has to pay $1.5 billion. So they liquidated his entire company. Like they're trying to put Trump in prison. Like it's dangerous times, man. My family escaped the USSR, and that's what they did. My company. I keep saying my company.
Your company. You own a stake in Quacky Coin. Yeah.
Yes. Right. my family, my mom was telling me this. My family was back in the early 1900s. They were super rich. They owned this like carpet factory, and as soon as the communists took over, they took away the carpet factory from them, and we became poor.
Oh my gosh,
that's what they do, and like they're trying to take Trump's businesses away. It's pure evil, man. Like they're taking Alex Jones's businesses away. Like for what? Just because he said something that was wrong. He actually admitted that was wrong about the Sandy Hook stuff. He actually apologized. He's like, yeah, I got wrong information from it. Like, yeah, I mean, you know, a little bit to the families, but like $1.5 billion, that's insane. Like how are there $1.5 billion in damages just based on a wrong report? This is disgusting. So yeah, the point is, I know that some people have defected to El Salvador, which is again one of the like largest, one of the quickest growing economies in the world right now. And like think about how rich they are with Bitcoin. Like they bought Bitcoin on the dip, and now it's ripping. Like it keeps going up. Like the streets are gonna be paved with gold. It's gonna be insane. So
really. What's that?
Carmen says I'll take you somewhere fancy like Sonic.
Yeah, I'm easy to please. I appreciate that, Carmen. I will take you up on that.
Yeah. All right. So some sport. Here we go. John says, well, Alex Jones did try and convince the kids' parents they were still alive, so I don't have much sympathy for them. Yeah, sure. Okay, sure. But like, do you think he owes $1.5 billion to them? Like, and he has to sell off his company? Like, not even, I don't even know if he sold it off. They just took away his company. Like, okay, yeah, he said something. He said something obviously wrong, and he apologized for it. And he said, I got wrong information. But is that 1.5 billion worth? Is okay, 1.5 million? That seems even excessive. But like, I could understand it. Like 1.5 billion. Like,
yeah,
how he doesn't even have that money.
It seems excessive, though. I do think he's a raging ass. But I watched that. There's a oh, you don't like documentaries? Damn it! There's a good documentary on it on HBO. Oh, do you watch it?
No. I was about to say I actually like Alex Jones for the most part. I think he has some interesting things to say. Like, yeah, I've watched many of his interviews and stuff like that. Like on Timcast, for example, he's done a few where he's been on for like 2 hours, and you hear him talk, and like, you know, you get the, like, most people are like, oh, this guy's a raging lunatic and stuff. But if you just listen to him, like, the problem with Alex Jones is like he sometimes just doesn't know how to communicate. Like he actually has mostly correct information, but he just doesn't know how to communicate. Like, for example, when he started ranting about like frogs turning gay, what he was trying to say, there was like, there's chemicals in the water, and like some frogs change sexes based on the chemicals in the water, which is actually proven true. But like he couldn't articulate it. Like he's like, there's frogs turning gay. Like yeah, if he just said it like calmly and just kind of explain what he was talking about, like it would have made more sense, and like people wouldn't have thought he was just a raging lunatic. But like a lot of the stuff he says has turned out to be true. Now he's gotten some things wrong, but I think overall, I think he's way more reasonable than people make him out to be, just because people hear a couple clips. I'm saying, like, if you watch those 2-hour interviews, I actually think they've been taken off YouTube, but like if you somehow stumble upon them and listen, like I guarantee you're going to be like, oh, he's not as bad as I thought he was.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that you're correct. I still think he's an ass, but I wouldn't doubt you're correct. You ever hear the like the Ted Kaczynski files or something like that? He actually predicted, because this is kind of an unpopular opinion too, because, you know, obviously Ted Kaczynski's, you know, Ted Kaczynski, but he like predicted a lot. Like what was it called? It's called like Virtual World or something. It's a book. I can't. Dave, my friend Dave knows it. He told me about it, and it's really like basically like he predicted a lot of like what like the world is today and society is today. It's pretty interesting. So anyhow, where do we leave off here with the AMC?
Yeah, well, I was about to say
go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was saying, like, I sold all my AMC, bought into GameStop. I actually sold everything and bought GameStop, which now I sell covered calls on, just make the weekly salary or income. So it's great. I highly recommend selling covered calls, especially on GameStop, because those covered calls are really expensive because so many people buy calls. And again, the higher the price goes, the higher the premiums you're going to get. Now, opposite is true. If the stock price goes down, then you're not going to get $120 on those $100 calls anymore. You're probably going to get like $75 or $80. But you know, the price does fluctuate. So I'm always rooting for the stock to go up, so to make more on these cover calls. So I highly recommend everyone to do these cover calls, because no risk. is all. I mean, I'll say all upside, but there's a little curved upside because like you could be forced to sell at a price where like it's not going to be the maximum, but at the same time, like I was actually looking at Microsoft, for example. So Microsoft got a price target increase from a bank. I think they raised it from $450 to $500. If you buy like 100 shares of Microsoft, for example, you can sell these cover calls for like $60. Like it was like $460 cover calls for $60, and the stock has never even hit 460 ever. So you're making $60 every week, just based on speculation that has never happened. And if it does hit 460, you're going to profit. So again, like any stock you own, if there's an option chain, sell cover calls. I mean, it can be a nice weekly income for you. So, or money to reinvest. So,
I'm definitely going to check it out myself. What slew here? I wonder if Alex Jones watches the W. You know what? I don't think he does slew, but I'll tell you what he does do. He's invested in Quacky Coin, and let me tell you what you should do with the. We love this segue, huh? You should take your Quacky Coins and put it on the Florida Panthers. Slew, I talked to you earlier, Walter, and I sent you and Jacob a text. I love the Panthers. I sent you and Jacob a text earlier. The series spread, Florida -1.5, so they would have to win by two games or win the series by 2 games or more. I think I got it at +155. That is obviously anything can happen. That is as close to free money as you're going to find in sports betting. This team is by far superior to every team, and like that Rangers team that they beat, the Rangers team is really, really good, and they are better than the Oilers. So, like, they handled the Panthers completely shut out all the Rangers' best players in that series. And even after they lost Game 3 and the Rangers went up 2-1, I said to myself, this team's going to win. The Florida Panthers are going to win the Stanley Cup because they just had some bad games. They shut down all the best players on the Rangers, and the Rangers. I thought this was their year to win the Cup at one point. So, I mean, I really like the Panthers. We took them tonight. I'm probably going to take them, unless I see a funny line. I really like them to win this series. So any way you can take, maybe a series price or whatever you can find. I like the Panthers and I like them a lot. So
okay, sounds good. I'll try to find that -1.5. I wish I would have put tonight, but it's a crazy time with the kids. Plus, we're going to the beach tomorrow, so we had to pack and stuff and whatnot. So it was a busy night, so I didn't get a chance to bet it, and I'm sad that I didn't.
Well, I'll tell you what, I might have a big WNBA play for you tomorrow. If so, like I'll text you guys, and maybe I'll tweet it out or something for those. There's a game that I'm at the moment liking a pretty good bit. Okay. So I'll let you know.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
John says, I think he's funny, but he went way too far on that one. Yeah, he did. And I heard him talk about it too. And he apologized a lot for it. And he said that he got bad information. Like he has sources that he talks to, and the source just, got it wrong. And he went too far. You're right. But at the same time, he said a lot of stuff that is true as well. John says, can't wait for Sam Reinhart and Kyle
like both of those
to win
guys.
the Cup. A couple years after Eichel did. This is all foreign to me.
Yeah, they're all. So Eichel left the Buffalo Sabres and went to the Vegas Golden Knights, and they won the Cup last year. And mid-season, Reinhart and Opozo. Well, I don't know if Reinhart was traded this year. Opozo definitely was, because Opozo was always an unsung hero of that Buffalo Sabres team. I always liked him. He's a fourth liner, but he's on the Panthers now. I hope they get a Cup too. But yeah, that's why John. They're Buffalo exports, I suppose.
Okay. I didn't know that. So says Oilers roughly outshot the Panthers by 2-1 margins. They lose 3-0.
Further backs up my point. Bobrovsky's out there standing on his damn head. And you know what I always say, like in hockey, it doesn't matter the seeding. If your goalie gets hot, I mean, the Panthers were a high seed to begin with, but like Bobrovsky he mishandled the puck like early on, and like it was a one-on. He had a couple one-on-ones. Just obviously it was a shutout. He stonewalled him. He had. How many shots did they have? I think it was like 32 or something like that. Yeah, he pitched a shutout. And I think, even with all the star power in McDavid and Draisaitl and Hyman and those guys on the Oilers, their defense just isn't strong enough to beat this Panthers team is too solid. So I'm probably going to bet them every game the rest of the way out, because I expect them to win the series, and I expect them to win it in 4 or 5. So take that for whatever it's worth. to you, and good luck if you do.
Awesome. Sitting there asking, what are we still doing up? Was we hedging golf or not? So that's
oh, there you go.
Let's get into golf. Congrats so far if you bet Scottie Scheffler. We got him at like plus 360 or plus 370. I said on Caesars I got him at like plus 430, but that was max 25 bets, so I had to bet more. Otherwise, I know Slew got him at like plus 530 or something, so that's awesome. Scottie Scheffler right now, way ahead of everyone. He's 10 under. The next people are 6 under. You have Colin Morikawa, Sepulon, Straka, and Adam Hadwin are all 6 under, and then you have a couple of guys who are 4 under, Xander Schauffele and Ludwig Oberg. So I'm very confident Scheffler's going to win. This is one of the hardest courses on tour. Now, well, next week it's going to be even harder. It's Pinehurst. The last time they played at Pinehurst, there's one person who was under par. One person. This is back in 2014.
Wow.
Everyone, the second place person was +1. So that I mean, this is like mini golf compared to that, but this course is difficult as well. Very difficult. I predicted that the winning score would be 10 or 11 under. Last year, Victor Hovland won at 9 under. And sometimes you see courses where like 27 under wins it. You know what I mean? This is much different. But Scottie Scheffler is kind of breaking through it, and it makes sense because I made this comparison before. I actually don't know if I made it on the show. So Scottie Scheffler reminds me of James Holzhauer. Remember him on Jeopardy? He was the sports betting guy who kept winning and winning and winning.
I think I do.
Yeah, this was back when Alex Trebek was still alive. He won a record number of times in a row, and like he wouldn't just win; he would demolish his opponents. He would.
I thought that was Ken Jennings. I do. Okay, I do remember this guy.
Ken Jennings is when we were in college, or you may have been in high school still. But no, James Holzhauer, that was 2021 or something, or whatever it was.
Yeah. I do vaguely remember it now.
Yeah. So this is what Scottie Scheffler reminds me of, because for some reason, and like this is so stupid, Jeopardy's ratings were skyrocketing because everyone wanted to see Holzhauer. Again, he wasn't just winning, he was demolishing his opponents. He'd have like $25,000 by the end of the night, because what he would do on the daily doubles, he'd just risk everything. He's a bettor. And he's like, yeah, I know the answer to this question is going to double my money, which is like most people are like, oh, I have 5,000. Let me bet 1,000 here.
Right.
He'd go all in. He'd do this. He'd go like all in. It's so great. Yeah, he would demolish his bonus, but like Jeopardy, for some reason, even though their ratings are skyrocketing, eventually they wanted him off the show. I don't know why. So their plan was to make the questions harder and harder. They kept increasing the difficulty, and he kept winning by larger and larger margins because he was way smarter than everyone. The time he lost was when Jeopardy gave softball questions for every single question. Like when they ramped up the difficulty, it's like, I don't know most of the stuff. My wife was watching. She's like, I knew one answer. But the day he lost, I was like, I know all the answers to these questions. Like, what is going on here? They made the questions so easy that the other contestants had a chance to win. And so this is what I'm talking about with Scottie Scheffler here. When you have an easy course, yes, he can be beaten because it's easy for everyone. And so, yeah, you're getting to tournaments where 22 under, 23 under, 24 under is the norm. Yeah, someone could beat him at 24 under. He gets 23 under. It's still a fantastic score, but it's easy. So, yeah, the lesser golfers have a chance. Tournaments like this, where it's no one could get to 10 under last year, like I said, Victor Hovland won at 9 under. Tournaments like this, Scottie Scheffler just has a much bigger advantage than everyone because, Colin Morikawa is tier 1. He's a tier 1 golfer. Xander Schauffele, tier 1. Ludwig Oberg, he's heading toward tier 1 range. Rory McIlroy, tier 1. You have Sepulon Straka, I think a tier 2 guy. Oberg, definitely tier 2. Sahith Theegala, despite what happened. Canadian Open, he's tier 2. Scottie Scheffler's tier 0. There's no one even close to him right now on the PGA. Maybe you could talk about Bryson DeChambeau or John Rahm overall, but they're in live. At the PGA, there's no one near him. And so when you get to these hard courses, he just has a big advantage. And so that's why he's 4 ahead of everyone. And like I said, he's 75.5% chance to win. I suppose he can get the flu or something and have a horrible day. It's definitely a factor.
Get arrested again.
that was ridiculous. Charges already dropped. This is so stupid. So anything could happen. Maybe Morikawa just goes nuts. Again, he's a tier 1 golfer. He can maybe get to 10 under for sure. But I'm very confident that Scheffler is going to win. However, it's still hedge, I think. So what I plan on doing, let me put a FanDuel. Again, I'm going to look for the best odds. Let me reload this just in case we're getting old numbers here. So right now, Scheffler's minus 450 to win, which seems about right. You have Colin Morikawa 10-1, Sepulon Straka is 18-1, and then the other 6 under guy at Adam Hadwin is 30-1. Hadwin, this is the best. This is funny. I think this is the best performance of Hadwin's career. Even though he's tied for second right now, he won one tournament, I think, back in 2017. But that was a bad field. That's like one of those minor events. They're like, you barely have anyone good. If he takes Scheffler out, like he's tied for first place, and like he's a decent golfer. He's like a jack of all trades sort of guy. Like he has no weaknesses. If you look at like the Pentagon here, like I'll show you with Scheffler in a bit. Like Hadwin is like he's like about even on everything. Like no strengths, no weaknesses. He's jack of all trades, master of nothing. If you look at Scheffler, though, like if you look at his Pentagon, like he's just insane. Especially on courses where approach and around the green, which is 2 major strengths. This course is super important for those 2 categories. So again, no surprise that he's in first. But all these guys are 6 under, and I think Cinder was talking about. If anything, just hedge the -6s now. What we should we even do it? Probably not. Again, anything could happen. Scheffler could. He could contract COVID. Who knows? Like something weird could happen. Maybe he tears his meniscus or something. I don't know. Like there is something that could happen. I think he's going to win, but I think he should hedge. And so what I plan on doing is I think I'm just going to spray $20 on the -6 guys. We put $20 on Morikawa, $20 to win 200, 20 on Sepulon Straka, and then 20 on Hadwin. Schauffele has better odds than Hadwin just because he's a much better golfer, but he's 4 under. I think it's highly unlikely he's going to win. He's 2.8% chance to win here, which is 3.6 compared to Hadwin. And then you have Sepulon Straka's 5.2, and then Colin Morikawa's 8.7. So yeah, I mean Schauffele, could he win? Yeah, maybe, but I think if he gets close, he could probably hedge in real time. I don't think you need to do that now. I think what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put $20 on all the -6 guys just in case. It's only $60, compared to what we're going to win with Scheffler. We put 300 to win 1050, I think, or whatever it is. So that's what I'm going to do. $20 on each of these guys in case of the worst case scenario. But like, I don't think you need to do it. I really don't. I think Scheffler's going to win. So that's where I stand with Scheffler. Did you bet golf this weekend?
I forgot this week again. I was doing well with your picks the last couple tournaments, but it hasn't been like very stressful at the time. But I haven't had it. Today was my first day off in like 20 days. So like I've just kind of been running around and a little bit scattered, and sometimes I forget. Well, a lot of times I forget things, but
yeah.
I'll have to remember next week. But congrats! Sounds like you were doing really well there with the Scheffler. He's just absolutely crushing it.
He's the best in the world. I was about to say, if you're scattered now, just wait until you have kids. So, crazy, man.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Hey, do you think like?
Hold on. Sorry.
Okay.
777 super chat. Thank you so much, Lou. Really appreciate it. Here's to Scheffler up by 4. The Quacky Panthers covering at plus 185. Measure time and Bookham Dano winning at Saratoga plus stock market education. Thank you so much, Lou.
Thanks, Lou.
Really appreciate your constant contributions.
Man. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think? Do you think that we could? Okay, we start Quacky Coin and like we open our own book, but like you're betting with Quacky Coin. Do you think like people, and then like it gets value over time, and then we find out like, oh, like these guys it's probably not illegal because doesn't have any cash value yet, right? And then all of a sudden, all these people, Slew and John Sanders and all these folks have Quacky Coin, and all of a sudden it skyrockets. Do you think we could? That's probably. We're just going to open an online book.
Tom, this is for you. Tom, this is for you to figure out. I'm going to just be an institutional investor.
Okay.
I trust you that you wouldn't rug. I trusted that you wouldn't rug pull us like Zach Morris allegedly would do. I was so shocked he didn't go to prison for his alleged pump and dumps. Anyway, but no, I trusted that you wouldn't screw us over and sell all your stuff.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, but I'm telling you what, if that would ever actually come to fruition, if Quacky Coin came to fruition, you're already like a partner. So
Okay,
I'm gonna need your help. So
we'll
figure that out at a later time.
I'll promote it and stuff on the show and on
go.
Twitter. Yeah. Okay, we're at the 2-hour mark, so let's get into Game of Thrones. Real quick, NBA. I'm going to post my NBA pick tonight because we're going to the beach tomorrow. I'm taking Dallas. I know that Porzingis is back, but we saw Boston in Game 2s just really lay an egg. I think they'll do that again, especially off a big win. Dallas shot 25% from three in Game 1, and that's a huge outlier. I think they're going to shoot much better in Game 2. So I think it's going to be a lot closer. Boston can still win, but 7 is a big number. So I'm going to take Dallas, and I'm going to post that tonight. So anyway, unless you wanted to say anything about that, we can go to Game of Thrones, and you watch Season 3, Episode 4.
Yes. Let me sneak one more thing in here tomorrow. Yeah. I may have a big W, as I mentioned. I may have a big WNBA play tomorrow. I really like the winless Washington Mystics tomorrow. The line is plus 13.5 against the New York Liberty, who, in my opinion, are probably going to win the title. New York Liberty, I think, but don't go crazy with it yet. There is a chance that this is going to sound insane. I'm kind of interested in the Mystics money line at plus 800. Wow. The reason for this is the Mystics, even though they're 0-11, they have kept games close with everyone they played. Up until a week ago, they never trailed after, like, they were either tied or ahead through three quarters, but then they always kind of blow it. But they played so many good teams so closely. So I just think, and also the Liberty, their next game, I think this could be a look ahead alert for them because they play the Las Vegas Aces, who beat them in the finals last year. So they definitely have revenge on their mind. They're probably not thinking about the winless Mystics, who have played some teams tough. They played some close games. They've covered some big. I made some big bets on them that they've covered this year. So I'll let you know tomorrow. I'll tweet it out and. For those listening, if you're so inclined, I would say don't take anything yet, but that's what I'm eyeing up. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. I'll keep an eye out for your tweet as I lay on the beach.
Right. Perfect.
Well, probably not laying on the beach, probably just chasing my kids around. All right. So, all right. Game of Thrones, Season 3, Episode 4. I was really hoping you'd watch Episode 5 tonight because Episode 5 is, I had a lot of notes on that. It was Jamie's defining scene of the series where he talks about how conflicted he was when he had to kill the Mad King, and he really goes into it because he's known as the King Slayer. Everyone talks him down about that because his job was to protect the king, and he killed the king. So it's a fantastic scene. It's so good. I think it won an Emmy or whatever they're called. Plus, there's a lot in Episode 5. Episode 4, I don't have that many notes on. So if you want to talk us through Episode 4.
I'll tell you what, a lot of things that I thought were going to happen look like they're starting to happen. Okay. It's so funny to see Joffrey, he's as giddy as a schoolgirl with Marjorie. It's that they're, and I think it's interesting. Cersei is really onto the plotting, but I guess Tywin isn't. But it's pretty clear, to me at least, that Marjorie and her mom. I like that scene with Varys and Marjorie's. I think that's her mother, right?
No, it's her grandmother.
Oh, her grandmother. Okay.
The Queen of Thorns.
Right. Okay. That scene with her and Varys, I thought was pretty good. But it's pretty clear. I mean, she's going to be wearing the pants once they get married, and it seems like she's really trying to get Sansa to do whatever she wants as well, putting ideas in her head of what's going to be best for her. It's so funny. I almost laugh. Joffrey's he's such a shithead, but now he's he's all gaga-eyed over this girl. Also, I was kind of correct about now, Brielle and Jaime Lannister are
Brienne.
Oh, Brienne. Sorry. With a body like this, you don't get the brains with it. So, Brienne. So, I should tweet these out. The summaries. For those of you who don't know, I write a half comical summary to Walter every time I watch an episode. He suggests I tweet them out, but yes. The wrong names and everything. It might add to the comic value.
I think it would.
But anyhow, so Brienne and Jamie, I think I said to you either last week or the week before, like you can tell like they're starting to bond a little bit from, obviously they didn't like each other at the beginning. So, and you can tell like she was looking out for him when he fell off the horse and everything. And that you can just tell by their interactions. So I was kind of correct about that. It's funny because I even put this in my summary. I was like, what the hell is like, why are like Daenerys and these people like why are they still here? Like, what the hell are they doing? And it's like the way she turned on I call him the modern Gandhi looking guy. I wrote his name down here. What's his name?
Yeah, the slave trader. Sure.
Yeah.
His name's
that was
not important.
Yeah, that was like I was just trying to figure out for like a couple episodes, like what is she like trying to get done here? I didn't even 100% like realize what her plan was going to be, but it was revealed pretty quickly at the end with the dragons. The dragons look so cool too.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a and that was a great scene to end the episode on. Both the visual shot and like just the way the dragon and it's kind of funny too. Like, wouldn't you think? But like, do you think like the slave trader and all those people there in Karth, like they're aware of like the connection, the bond she has with the dragons? Like she basically she controls them. You know what I mean? Like, do you think they're aware of what I described to you when I first saw her step into the fire or anything? Is like perhaps I was under the impression it was maybe something like she possessed some sort of supernatural powers. Do you think they're aware of that? Because I think if they were, they probably wouldn't have let that trade. I mean, she was just going to tell that dragon full throttle there. So, and it was really cool the way she did that. And I love how she revealed at the end that she understood everything he said from the beginning because she speaks their language. And I thought it was funny. It makes that scene even funnier where the interpreter was changing it to make it more, a little more eloquent, if you will. So that was a cool little twist. But with all that, go ahead.
Just real quick, one fact checking thing: she's not in Karth anymore. She's in Slaver's Bay. There are 3 cities in Slaver's Bay. I believe she's in Astapor right now. So she left Karth. So this is not the same place as the Warlock. The slave traders probably don't know that she has control of the dragons like that.
Okay. That makes sense then. You've asked me this question before about Jon Snow's mother.
Yeah.
And I have a very bold and probably very incorrect prediction.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think it's Daenerys. I think it's going to be revealed that she is she's otherworldly of some kind, and like maybe she's like 6,000 years old, and because she gave birth to, or she was supposed to give birth to the Dothraki, Momoa's kid. I know that sound, but to me it seems, and I could be way wrong, when she stepped in that fire and came out and the dragons were around her, and I know you said like they think it's her mom, the first thing they saw, so they're attached to her. But to me, it just seemed like there was something, I don't even want to say supernatural, otherworldly, I guess, or something magical to her. So this is, but it just seems, this show has so many twists and so many unexpected things happening. And like I said, it's probably a very incorrect prediction, but I'm going to say that like maybe that's revealed later because, I kind of thought Daenerys was more reserved at from what I'd seen in the first couple seasons in a way, but now it's like she definitely has some tricks up her sleeve, and there's a lot more to her that we're going to find out, I think. So I think it could be something like that. She's like, I've been the mother of dragons for 10,000 years or something. And and maybe that's wrong. It probably is. But I think it could be a twist of that magnitude once we find, because I am aware that Jon Snow is going to be a main character for a while. So so that's my prediction. And obviously don't tell me.
No. But if you're correct, let's play with the scenario that you're correct. Do you think that's why Ned Stark didn't want her to be assassinated? That's why he left the King's Council.
I didn't even think that. So now I think there's more legs to my theory here. Okay. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, because he gave up his position as the hand over that.
Yes.
So.
Okay.
Oh man. Oh no. Okay. Never mind.
What?
No, I was gonna say you don't think there's any way that kid that they thought was Momoa's was Ned Stark's, right? No, that wouldn't make sense.
No. Well,
see, I'm trying to predict the twists of great magnitude here. I'm gonna miss pretty hard. So. But yeah, I didn't even think about what you just said, and I think that gives my theory more legs.
Okay.
In a way. For not saying the legs are strong, there's just more of them.
I like your theorizing. Here's a question for you. I asked you this before. This is the second episode where Tywin is writing letters, and they emphasize it. They show he's clearly writing stuff, and they show the seal again. All Tywin has been doing all season has been holding meetings and writing letters. Who do you think he's writing to? What do you think? What do you think's in these letters? Because like they made it a point to show you that like what he's doing, like this is all he's been doing.
I think he's now I'm looking through my notes here because I can't think of their name. Marjorie's family. I wonder if he's conspiring with them to like maybe join forces, because when Cersei comes to talk to him about it, he's like, oh, like, well, they helped us, and basically dismissed her pretty quickly. So I feel like there's a good chance that he's like, I'll say in cahoots on some level, with them. So I don't know if it's to someone in their family, but I think it will have something to do with I'm theorizing that I think he's in cahoots with them somehow, and it has something to do with him being in cahoots with them.
Okay. You will find out by the end of the season.
Okay.
It's season 3, episode 9 that you will find out what these letters are all about. Which is the most famous episode in Game of Thrones history. It's called The Rains of Castamere. It's I can't wait to watch it again because I'm watching with you. I can't wait to see your reaction to the Rains of Castamere episode. It's phenomenal. It's something else.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. Every episode 9 has been great. You saw season 1 was Ned's beheading. Season 2 was
season 2 episode 9 was great when Tyrion led the
Battle of the Blackwater. Season 3 is the Reign of Castamere. Season 4, I believe, it's called The Long Night. That's great action scenes in that. I think season 5, I think this called Hard Home. That might be episode 8, but I think that was like their big episode was Hard Home. Again, like amazing action scene, and like the final shot of that episode is like so heartbreaking. You're like, oh my god, like what is going on here? And then
which episode is that?
Season 5, episode 8 or 9.
Okay.
That's their big episode in season 5. It's called Hard Home. One of my favorite episodes. And then season 6, episode 9 is Battle of the Bastards, which is another great episode where I kind of referenced these bastards already.
Right.
In the books, there's something called the Pink Letter, where one bastard sends it to the other. You can probably guess who one of the bastards is by now.
Right.
Mr. Jon Snow. But who's the other bastard? You might have an idea of who it is, but anyway, so I was going to ask you about, unless you had something else, I was going to ask you, like, what do you think's going on with Theon? You said in your text to me, you said he's been set up. Who do you think these people are? Do you have any idea yet? Like who sent him on this wild goose chase only to be tortured again?
I'm really not. I'll be honest. That's a plot line that I'm kind of getting lost with. Like, because he was getting tortured, and then it seemed like he was in the clear, and then that wasn't. But I'm not even 100% sure like who those folks are. Okay. So I am kind of like, admittedly, I am lost in the story, in that storyline a little bit. But we got Carmen and Evie here coming out of the woodwork here in the comment. They come here for the Game of Thrones talk.
Yes,
maybe they can they can enlighten us.
Which episode are you guys talking about? Is it was talking about Hard Home, or was it Reigns of Castamere, or was it The Long Night, or Battle of the Bastards? Those are the 4 I've talked about. I thought all 4 were amazing episodes. I don't know which. I think Reigns of Castamere is number 1. I think Hard Home's number 2, and then I would say Battle of the Bastards is 3, and then I think The Long Night is 4. I think that's how I would order it. I'm not sure about Long Night and Battle of the Bastards.
Reigns of Castamere, isn't that the name of the song that the Lannisters sing?
Yep.
Oh, okay. See, I know some of these things. See, I'm remembering more now.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. I'll have to revisit that as well then.
We used to have watch parties in my house. I think I told you about them. There'd be like people I didn't even know who were showing up. Like people would just invite friends. These two girls used to show up, and they were friends with someone I didn't even know who. And like I'd be like, oh, like they're like, this is before I met my now wife. I was like, wow, these two girls are hot. Like what are they doing here? And like they'd always bring like chips and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is great. They're bringing chips. Like this is awesome. No, we would have these watch parties in my house, and like we would have so many people sometimes that like half the people would watch upstairs and half the people would watch down here where I am. This used to be a hangout room. Now it's my office, but we used to have like, it was packed, dude. The people would stand. It was like standing room only like situation where like people would just watch Game of Thrones. And the reaction, I don't want to tell you the reaction to Reigns of Castamere until you watch the episode, and then I'll tell you how some people reacted. It was something else, and I knew what was going to happen because I read the books. They changed a little bit from the books, but overall it was almost the same, and it is, I think, television at its finest. Like you have one of the best shows of all time, seasons 1 through 6 only, and then the best episode ever in that one of the best shows of all time. So it's and we have Evie and Carmen both talking about it.
Put my thinking cap on. Yeah, it's usually I can't locate it, but this time I was. Thank you, Carmen.
Evie said, "Yeah, we had watch parties too."
Nice.
Yeah, that was the last time we had watch parties for any show. Because now everything is just out there. You can like Squid Game was huge too, but they just put it out there, like so you could watch it like all the episodes in a row, you know. So like I feel like that was the last time we used to have watch parties for Lost too. Not to the same extent. It was never like packed. I would have like a few people watching Lost with me, but. Game of Thrones, like we would have so many people here. It was insane. And it was fun. Like we'd play like beer pong afterward. It was a good time. Like the people who didn't have work the next day usually, because it was on Sunday nights.
You always throw the best parties, man. You really do.
Well, I did not do. I haven't thrown a party in years.
Well, I came to your 40th birthday party in 2020. What was it, 2022?
Yeah. Oh, that was all my wife. My wife planned my 40th party. So, and that wasn't at my house. That was at her parents' house.
Right. But it was still a great party.
Yeah. It was a fun time. Yeah. I mean, that was really the last time. But like, you know, a drinking party with like tons of beer and stuff and alcohol. Like we would have those all the time. We would have like people over. Like we would go out to the bars on Friday, and then people would come back at 2:00, and we'd play beer pong until like 5 a.m. It was a blast. I'd say I miss those days, but that's before my kids were born. And like, now I'd rather hang out with my kids as much as I love my friends and stuff. But you know, it's a different life now. Which, you know, sometimes I'd be like, man, I wish I could go to one more party like that, you know. But then again, now I have to worry about 2 kids, and my son loves Super Mario, and so we play video games. I'm trying to have him learn how to play video games so we can play together. But now he just only wants to watch me play. Like he'll like take the controller and he'll start and he just gives it to me. And like it's just really hard. I told you this before. There's nothing harder than playing a video game while holding a 9-month-old daughter who's grabbing the controller and like pressing these buttons. I can't tell you how many times I've died because she's like pressed the right button or something. I fall off a cliff. It's so funny. I don't like, not that I don't care too much. It's just funny. Evie says I want to read the books. I would really recommend it. So you could probably skip book 1 because book 1 is almost like the same as the show. Book 2 is a little bit different. You could actually probably skip book 2, but book 2 gets a little bit different, and then book 3 is radically different, and it keeps getting way different. Like book 5 is just out there. Like a lot of the stuff in books 4 and 5 aren't in the show. One of the coolest characters in the books is this woman called Lady Stoneheart. She goes around Westeros hanging people, and she can't talk because her throat's slit. All she do is like gargle words. And like she's almost this undead abomination. Basically she has a cult following. They're like, people just follow her around and hang people for her. And so she's one of the coolest characters, and she didn't make the show. And I was like, when they didn't introduce her, I was so disappointed. And I've said this before. The Bainoff and Weiss, the 2 showrunners of Game of Thrones, for years they were talking about like, oh, we had this great surprise coming up in season 7. I don't know if they said season 7, but eventually they did. They're like, well, this is gonna blow your minds. I was like, okay, I was like, my theory was, okay, it's gonna be Lady Stoneheart. They're gonna introduce her later than expected because the actress they would have gotten for it did another show, but then that show ended. I thought they were going to definitely get her on. And the surprise was the zombie polar bear. It's like, you guys suck. You guys really suck.
Oh my god.
Banoff and Weiss were horrible. They wanted the show to end so they could do Star Wars, and they got Das Boot from Star Wars. So it was just desserts, I think.
Yeah. Hey, I just texted you over a picture of me dressed as a banana at your 2013 Halloween party. You remember that one? Yeah. That was that was a great party.
I remember. Yeah, Halloween parties were the biggest ones. Like we had so many people here on Halloween. It was crazy.
Yeah, those were good times. We got the chats flying here.
Yeah, Carmen says Game of Thrones is the only reason I was ever excited for Sundays. Yeah, it was the best. I used to I used to just love when people came over, and a lot of, again, there'd be people I didn't know, but it was so fun watching people and getting their reactions. And for the most part, I knew what was happening until season 5 or 6. That's when the books ended. But yeah, it was awesome. I love those Sundays. Evie says we also had watch parties for Dexter. Okay, interesting. We had watch parties for True Blood too. Not as big. We didn't have the 2 rooms, but we had enough people to fill up one room for True Blood. Which True Blood season 1 is great, absolutely great. Season 2 was okay, and then it went off the rails. When they introduced, I don't know if you're familiar with True Blood, but they were basically it was vampires coming out of they called it coming out of the coffin. It was really out of the closet, right? So vampires kind of introduced themselves into real life. And so it's cool to see the reactions to it. And a lot of people were, I guess you would say, racist against vampires. And so some people wanted to kill them. There's some people who turned into vampire hunters and wanted to kill them. And a lot of the vampires were good, and they didn't deserve to die. And there was actually this one serial killer of vampires that was the whole mystery of season 1. Who was mass murdering these vampires, so the first season was really good, but then by season 3 they introduced first of all they started introducing werewolves, which is it's oh, come on, this should be about just there are werewolves too. I get a world where there's just vampires and they come out of the coffin, but werewolves are as well. But then they introduced were-panthers, and I was like, oh my god, this is so bad. It got so stupid. But no, it was season 1. I highly recommend season 1 and just stopping after that. But anyway, we used to have watch party for True Blood.
I never watched that show either. You guys watch a lot of shows. I need to see. My problem is I watch the same shows over and over.
Yeah, you watch the documentaries. Stop watching the documentaries.
No, you need to get on the documentary train.
Nah.
You don't like anything. You don't watch anything on documentaries, the WNBA.
Boring stuff, man. I don't know. I don't know. Documentaries are all right. It's just I don't know. I
want to be the right thing for you. I understand. I
want to escape from reality, not delve more into reality. Well, on my downtime, I when I'm working, I'll write about football, and then I'll listen to the news and stuff, and then I just want a couple hours of downtime where I'm not in reality anymore, So, Carmen says we've been trying to convince Tommy to get a Switch. Yeah, I mean, well, you can play Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, the Zelda games. Those are great. I'm currently working on Tears of the Kingdom. I'm almost on everything. I actually beat the game by accident. I didn't go through a whole section of the game. I actually just found the final dungeon, and I was like, oh, what's this? It's oh, is this a secret dungeon? And it took me to the final boss. I'm like, oh crap! I don't know if I'm ready for this. But I actually beat the final boss. So.
Nice.
Now I'm doing everything I was supposed to do. But yeah, it was funny how I just beat it by accident. Yeah. Yeah, Carmen, he needs to get it. Yes.
Switch. I should do it soon. Hey, I've had the hot hand with some of these WNBA plays. Maybe I can use that money to get one.
And this is kind of Cinder asking player prop Tatum. Yes, I'm going under on Tatum. Yes. And Cinder also says so tough to even care about Game of Thrones knowing how it ends. Yep. You just got to pretend season 7 and 8 didn't happen. Just erase it from your memory. It'd be this ends with Battle of the Bastards, and the following episode, the final scene, or basically there's some montage stuff that the music or whatever. The final real scene of season 6 is not it's the reveal of who Jon Snow's mother is, and then something cool happens with Jon Snow. So that's basically the end of the series as far as I'm concerned. Carmen says, yes, I heard about Lady Stoneheart. Everyone is so upset she never made an appearance. Such a cool character. I don't know how you don't get into her. She's one of the coolest parts about the books. I really want to find out what happens during the books, because the last we hear from her in the books in book 5, she's hanging one of characters we know about, and she's basically she told someone else, like, these two characters are together right now. I don't know if they're ever together in the show, but in the books, these two characters are together. She hangs one of them, and she tells the other, she's like, well, she can't talk, but she has her acolytes say, she will kill you and hang you if you don't bring another character to her. I'm not going to say who it is, but she basically wants to hang this other character, one of the main characters of the show. So I don't know what's going to happen to him, because he has a huge part at the end of the series. So it's just she's so cool. Evie asking, have you watched House of the Dragons? Yes, I watched the first season. Well, I think there's only one season right now. I don't know if season 2 came out yet, but I watched the first season, and I have to say this, like, there's two things that bother me about it. I like it. There's two things that bother me. Like, one, the first episode I thought was slow, and I actually almost didn't want to keep watching it. But I was like, you know what? George R. Martin's involved in this. I think it'll be good. And it was good. I'm glad I kept going, because season 2, episode 2 onward was great. The other thing that bothered me about it is, like, there are a lot of time gaps in House of the Dragon. I think from episode 1 to episode 10, I think it's like a span of 20 years or something like that. And so they changed some of the actors in the show, which would be fine, but, like, they didn't change some of the actors. They kept some of the actors the same too. So, like, I just didn't get it. Like, there's like brother and sister almost. Oh no, it's there's a girl and her uncle. Two of the main characters in the show. They changed the girl, but they didn't change the uncle, even though they were close in age. And I'm like, why didn't they change all the characters or keep them the same? I didn't think they needed to change the actors. Because, like, they could have just put makeup on and aged them up. I don't know. I don't think they needed to do that. I thought I didn't like that. I didn't like the new actresses. They changed two the actresses out, the two main actresses, and they put in different women. And, like, I don't like these women as much as the initial women. So that's why those are the two things I didn't like about it. But overall, I do like it overall. So I recommend House of the Dragon, but, like, you should probably finish Game of Thrones first.
Right. Yeah, I've seen it on there.
It's a prequel. It's 200 years before Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
It's like how House Targaryen came into prominence.
Okay.
Evie says, I don't know why they kept her out. Coworker told me about it. Yeah, I can't wait to discuss Lady Stoneheart with you. I think right now it would be a major spoiler. But eventually I'll be able to. Evie says True Blood was good first 2 seasons. Then after it wasn't that good. Yeah, I totally agree. Once they introduced werewolves and then werepanthers, that's when it went downhill. Especially werepanthers. Werepanthers were basically like the Hicks. Werepanthers are basically like werewolves who were Hicks, and, like, they smoked meth and stuff like that, and, like, they were like white trash. It's so stupid, man. I was like, go ahead.
Werepanther is my spirit animal, Walter.
Yeah,
Werepanther? What came up with that?
We have our second constellation, I guess. We have dinosaur and werepanther.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna find the werepanther up there before you and name it. So.
There you go. There you go. Oh, Evie says, "Hey, don't hate documentaries. True crime documentaries are the best." It's just like I don't want to hate on them. It's not my style. I just don't like it. I've liked one documentary that I've seen. It's called My Octopus Teacher. It's about this deep sea diver who befriended an octopus, and one of my friends, Elliot, he told me to watch it. I'm like, I told him the same thing I told you. I'm like, I don't like documentaries. I can't watch it. He's like, Walt, this will change your life. I guarantee it. I'm like, okay, fine. Wow. I watched it, and as soon as I finished it, I texted Elliot. I'm like, thank you so much for telling me to watch it. It truly was life changing.
Wow. I've only ever heard great things about it, and you told me about this a little bit ago. I should watch that next.
Man, it was what a tearjerker, dude. It was so good. He becomes, and you learn a lot about these octopi. They're super smart, and, like, he was friends with it, and like he actually, it almost was like a dog with him. Like that's how like smart these animals are, and it was so good. It was so good. I can't recommend it enough. And I know you like documentaries. I don't even like documentaries, and I like.
Wow, yeah, that speaks volumes the most to me.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's on Netflix. So yeah.
Okay. Dude, I can't. It's already early June. We're gonna have preseason football in 2 months. When are you going to Vegas to register?
End of July. Actually, I got to text Andy for sure, our proxy. I think I'm going on July 18th through the 22nd right now. I have a dentist appointment scheduled for July 16th. I have to get an implant. And so, yeah, hopefully I'm not in too much pain when I fly out. But it's around then. Usually go around end of July. Usually what happens is Andy has these trips in the beginning of July where he goes. He's from PA, and usually during the beginning of July during the All-Star break, like there's nothing going on. He's a professional bettor, so there's like nothing going on except for golf, and so he'll or baseball, I guess, but he'll take a trip to PA, but he emailed me and said he's not going to PA and he's available any day. So I usually time it where he comes back from PA, but I guess it could be at any time now. So yeah, I mean, probably July 18th, but if it has to be something else, it might be July 25th. I try to go on a Thursday because obviously there will be no show on Thursday that week, but I try to go on Thursday because my son has swim lessons on Wednesday and I don't want to miss those. Because I take him and stuff, and it's cool to see him advance. I don't want to miss swim lessons, so I will go on Thursday through Monday. I hate traveling back on Sunday because there's a lot of people on planes and stuff. So I feel like Thursday through Monday is the way to go. So. Yeah.
I'm feeling really good about this year, man. I know, like the first year we did the Super Contest, it exceeded my expectations for sure. We placed 52nd out of over 1,600. Yeah. Last year was a year that we both want to forget, I know. But I think, like, I'm glad that I've been like coming on the show, even if we're not even talking about football during the off season and everything like that. I think it's like we're kind of like more in tune, like with how one another is thinking too. Yeah. So could you imagine if we top 5 go out there and get their picture taken with the big check? You imagine if we've known each other for 20 years. Like, do you ever imagine you'd be standing there with me getting a picture check? I think it's going to happen in our lifetime.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it'd be cool if like you, Jacob, and I, and all 3 of our entries are first, second, and third. Because like
that would be awesome.
Usually we have a lot of similar picks. So like if we're all hot, like we're going to be jumbled together, So it would be awesome if we were first, second, and third, and we had to take our picture 3 times. I would have to get my picture 3 times.
That'd be awesome. Hey, it could definitely happen. For those of you that don't know, like Walter and I have been basically we've known each other for it'll be 20 years in September, and we've been more or less handicapping games together the whole time. And I've learned pretty much the bulk of I would like to consider myself sharp at some points. Learned everything I know from you. So it's and I think because and most of the time it works out, and it's so interesting how that's why it's especially good that we have an entry together because we've been doing it so long. Like I already know, I'll look through lines. It's like I already know Walter's going to think this with me too. And very rarely, I think there was a week last year where I was like, "Are you serious?" We disagreed on a few games. I was surprised. That's really rare for us. I could count on 2 hands. I think how many times. And when I say I don't mean like any given game. I mean like a big one. Maybe you like a big play, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know, or vice versa. That doesn't really happen terribly often.
Yeah. We're usually on point with stuff. And you're right. It's rare that we have disagreements. I would say though that last year was kind of a mess. It was, first of all, we had a lot of bad beats, but second, my daughter was born right before the season. It was a lot, it was pretty hectic. I don't want to blame stuff on her. It's not fair.
No.
But it's just I didn't get much sleep. I'm still not getting much sleep, but I feel like right now I'm in a better
you have a routine. Down.
Yeah, I'm in a better place right now because my daughter's actually sleeping through the night. Knock on wood. But yeah, she rarely wakes up anymore, which is fantastic because my son used to wake up 3 times a night. But yeah, now I feel like now I could get more work done and stuff, and and whatnot. So yeah, I do feel a lot better about this season than the last one, because the last season we started hot because I had a lot of time before my daughter was born. She was born late August. I had a lot of time to like handicap these teams beforehand, and like the first 4 weeks I was doing pretty well. And then after the first 4 weeks, things fell apart just because like I just didn't have time to adjust, and like juggling 2 kids is so tough, especially when both are under 2 years old. It's so difficult. But now my son is he's almost 2.5. Like he can play in the other room, and I don't have to worry about him like for the most part. Sometimes like he'll do something he shouldn't, like jump on the dogs or something. But for the most part, like I can just leave him on his own for a few minutes, like 5 to 10 minutes, and or like if he's down here, like eventually he's going to play video games and whatnot, or whatever, and just do homework. So yeah, I feel like the older the kids get, the easier it's going to be. So that's why. And there's no baby 3 on the way, so I feel like this year is going to be really good for us.
I think so too. Hey, let me ask you, because I've wondered this myself. So let's say we do get let's say we win like $100,000. Okay. Right? I mean, we're not going to like fly in there, get our picture taken, and fly home. We're going to freaking hang out there. What do you think we're going to do? Like, this is fun. Like, we like to go out, but we're not like hardcore, like raging partiers. You know what I mean? I feel like we're more subdued, I guess, because we're older too. And also, I don't drink anymore, but that doesn't mean I won't go out and have a good time. But if that happens, you're going to like stay there for a couple of days and hang out and celebrate, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll put the 100 all on black. No, just kidding.
No.
Just kidding.
But you know what? Hey, if we could take, we could put a little more on like some nice futures that we like or something.
Oh yeah.
Maybe
we can buy GameStop shares and sell lots of covered calls.
Exactly.
That is hold on. I'll do the math real fast. It's $50,000 each. Let's reduce half for taxes. So $25,000 each. Divided by 28, it's about 900 shares of GameStop. You sell 9 contracts at 120 a piece. That's $1,080 per week.
Wow, there you go. So we could win the super contest, and then it's like hitting $1,000 a week for life.
Yep.
Remember those lottery tickets? $1,000 a week for life. That would actually be a decent. I mean, obviously, like I'd take $1,000. I'll take $10 right now. $10 a week for life. I'm not going to turn that down, but.
Oh, yeah.
I never really played scratch off lotteries.
No, and I feel like the people who do are, if you do it for fun, that's fine. I'm not gonna rag on people doing it for fun. Like I know people who do it religiously. Like there's this one guy I used to hang out with him all the time, and I don't hang out with him anymore because he's kind of an alcoholic. But like, he does scratch offs every day. And I was talking to him the last time I saw him. This is like 10 years ago. I don't know if he still does this, but the last time I saw him, he's like, wow, I won $300 in scratch offs. I'm like, oh, cool. What'd you do with the money? He's like, oh, I bought more scratch offs.
like whenever you're like at the convenience store, like in a big hurry, and there's like some guy there, like,
yeah.
Oh, let me get 5 tickets. It's like, dude, get out of the freaking way, man.
It's so degenerate.
It always had like. I would feel embarrassed. Like sometimes like they'll walk out of the store and scratch them. And let me, before I go on, I'm not making fun of anyone or throwing any shade. I'm sure there's people that look at me like, oh, how do you bet on sports? And stuff, so I have my own version of it. But like, I would just feel strange, like standing outside scratching and then like coming back in and going back out and coming back in and going back out. Like, or also like there's a gas station near where my mom's side of the family lives in the greater Philadelphia area, and they have like those little slot machines like in the gas stations. Have you seen those up there? Like not in Vegas, they have slots everywhere.
Yeah.
But like but there's casinos in Pennsylvania and Atlantic City and Delaware and Maryland. It's like I would feel so strange. Like if I like was going to play slots, like I'm just going to go down to the gas station and do that.
Yeah.
It just seems so weird.
The first time my wife and I went to Vegas, we went to a Hertz to rent a car. They had slot machines in Hertz.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My boss at my former job when I used to work and live out there, he's like the luckiest guy. Like video poker and I've seen him win $1,000 like 3 different times. But we went into like a Vons. Vons is the if you're not in the know, that's like a grocery chain out like I guess on the West Coast. And they have slot machines in Vons. We like went in there real quick. He sat down the slot machine there and won $1,000. Guys, like one of the luckiest people ever. Yeah, so you can But like, why would you want to do that in a gas station? Like, how much could you possibly win? Like, how much cash do they have on hand to pay you out? But just drive to the casino if you want to play a slot.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Like,
yeah, it's so
I would feel
degenerate.
so
Like I said, it's fine if you want to do it for fun. If they could go out, play a few slot pulls, whatever. Now it's the button. But like if you do it like all the time, like and just sit there like a zombie, or I guess now it's pressing the button. It's like, what kind of life is that? Like, how do you get any enjoyment from it? Just like you're just entranced by the bright lights and the colors and the sounds. It's like you're almost like a moth and attracted to a flame. Like
it's like the lights on, but nobody's home. You're just you're in a trance. You're in a trance.
Yeah, you're really like a zombie. That's like you instead of hunting for brains, you look at these bright lights and bright sounds. It's pretty sad. Really?
Yeah, no, it is. And, like, there's probably people, like I said, look, I'm not saying I'm any better in my own right, but, I think, like, for me, it's like the venue of it. Like, what do you think you're going to win? Like $10,000? Like, I mean, if you go to, like, a casino, you could, it's incredibly unlikely, but you could hit a jackpot.
Yeah.
Maybe like $10,000, $20,000, whatever. It's like, you think you're going to win that at a gas station? They don't have that much cash on hand. There's no way. There's no way. So, like, what's like the best case scenario there? Just if you're going to do that, you're going to spend the same amount of money. Just give yourself a chance where you could maybe win, sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, it's super degenerate.
I'm just
sucks.
I'm just a guy that plays video games on the internet. I don't know anything. So.
Yeah, but again, you're doing that for fun, and I just don't see this being fun for people. They just like just like a button, click after click after click. It's just it's not a life I'd want to live. I feel bad for these people that they're I guess they're addicted to this kind of stuff. It's really sad. And last comment Cinder says the lady going through the ground with the dragon and killing all the innocent people to get away made no sense. Yeah, I think is that you're talking about season 8, I assume, Cinder. That really didn't make any sense at all. So nothing in season 7 and 8 made sense. I was actually I saw I don't know if it was like a Quora thread or Reddit thread or something, and like someone was like, why did Littlefinger do this in season 7? And like the person answering it like gave this detail thing, and I commented, I'm like, don't take anything in season 7 seriously. It's a hollow husk of what the show was, but
nice, nice alliteration too. Wow.
Thank you. Anyway, that's we're approaching 3 hours now. So,
holy cow! Guess why so quickly every time, man.
When we do our 24-hour stream, a long time from now, this is an eighth of what we're doing, almost an eighth. So anyway, thanks so much for everyone for watching. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that will help us a lot. Especially thank you to Carmen, the $3 super sticker, and Slew for the $7.77 super chat. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Tom, do you have anything to plug? Perhaps your Twitch channel.
Yeah, let's get the Twitch going. I've been on there. I've been actually doing like one after I get home from work between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. and then sometimes a late night one too. So I might jump on there tonight after this. Okay. But yeah, we've been playing Rocket League. It's been a lot of fun action, and getting a lot of people from our little Discord community to join in. It's been a great time, and just the usual banter. It's just kind of like the stuff we banter about here on the show, but there's video games in the back. Some of you have joined previously, and I appreciate the support and hope to see you out there. I'm also on the app formerly known as Twitter, and I've been tweeting a little more. So, nice. If you're interested in the WNBA plays or the NHL plays, do give me a follow on Twitter. I will tweet something out if I take it. But appreciate the support and love being here as always, Walt. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, it's always a blast doing this with you. I was looking forward to this episode, especially because of the cover calls and the GameStop. I hope you guys got something out of it and start selling cover calls because it's free money. It's out there. Just take the free money. If you have 100 shares of whatever stock, it's there's no reason not to do it. There's no risk, and it's all a benefit, So definitely consider that, and I hope you guys were able to benefit from it. But yeah, we're gonna have a full slate next week. Jacob on Tuesday. Not sure what we're gonna talk about yet, but Kenny on Wednesday, and then Tom on Thursday and or Saturday, which is not sure yet. I don't know if we'll have a guest for the other episode, but yeah, we'll figure it out. So I hope everyone has a great rest of your weekend. Again, I'll be down the shore, so I'm gonna be down the shore tomorrow. So I'm gonna post the Scheffler hedges and the NBA pick tonight after we log off here. But yeah, again, guys, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, everybody.